the Soul Stream has begun. Mortal Kombat Online and the Realm Kast live show bring you the latest news, thrilling interviews, and much, much more. All live and in real time. And the best part, you can be part of the action. So join in. You can join us on Twitch or YouTube or wherever you watch streaming stuff, except for Twitter. That one doesn't let you participate. But join the chat and come on in. Talk to us, everybody. We're excited to see you, and we're excited for today's episode. I am your host, the Mortal Kombat Phantom, and with me, as always, is my co-host, our lore master, Yanni. Welcome, Yanni.
Thank you, Phantom. And I would introduce our next guest, but I think I'll save that for when we're about to throw him into the stream. We have a pretty cool guest coming up today related to the upcoming Mortal Kombat Onslaught, so stick around for that while we go through some news. Phantom, what have you got on the agenda for today?
We got a bunch of different things. So I guess rather than kind of giving you a quick breakdown, let's just jump into a couple of things that we have. First of all, I want to show you something, Yanni, and to all of our viewers. These got sent over to us to check out and to show our viewers what exactly it is, because a lot of people don't know. Have you seen these? These are the little... They're little chibi coins from New Zealand.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, what's his name was making fun of us last week for doing like unboxings and stuff, but these are really cool, and they wanted us to see what they make and kind of tell our fans about it, because they're just cool little things to do. So what it is New Zealand Mint. They're the same guys that did the Mortal Kombat coins. I don't know if you remember those. Like I guess it was like 3 years ago. But
I think I do. I think I remember something. Hi, by the way, Jim. How you doing? Yeah, I think I do. 3 years ago, you said. Yeah,
about 3 years ago. They had the Mortal Kombat logo on them. They were made by New Zealand Mint, and they only made like 1,000, 2,000, or something like that. Completely sold out. So they went back, and in this past year, they've made 3 new ones, and this is the chibi set, and that's what we're showing here. They got Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, and each of these are made from 1 ounce of pure silver. So, yeah, it's cool. They're really cool, and I think everybody should check them out. They're actually minted in New Zealand, so their mint value is like $2, but of course they cost more than that because it's pure silver.
Hey, what's up, man? Down.
They're collectibles, so you can purchase them at New Zealand Mint. We'll actually have a link that we'll put up on social media for you guys later to check them out. They're only making 2,000 of each of these coins, so once they're gone, they're gone. I kind of wish we had the Mortal Kombat one, because that was a cool one with the Mortal Kombat logo.
Yeah, I mean, if it's the one I'm thinking of, that was really, really cool. But I gotta admit, these chibi ones are awesome as well. Like, it's interesting, because I feel like when a chibi set is done of anything, it's a bit too cute, if you know what I mean. But these have that sort of, like, they still look pretty badass, you know? Right. They're still pretty cool. I'm trying to say that scrapes. I'm not sure, but yo, man, how you doing? But these have a sort of like they still look really cool rather than just super cute. You get me?
Yeah, and to make this clear, this isn't a paid sponsorship or anything. We're just showing this off because they're awesome. And they have texture to them. That's what I thought was really cool about them. Like they do the etched front of them, and then they do the texturized versions of them. So there's 2,000 each. Once they're gone forever. If you guys want to check them out, New Zealand Mint, we'll put up a link on our sites and stuff, so you guys can get a direct link to them. And they are partnership with Warner Brothers for this, so it is officially licensed Mortal Kombat merchandise. I know some collectors that matters and some it doesn't, but they're pretty cool.
They are pretty cool. And I mean, if there's only that limited number of them, I mean, I could see like this MK community, you know, like anytime something like this comes up, it gets snapped up. So
yeah, exactly.
Grab them quick.
Yeah.
How many were we sent over?
The Mortal Kombat ones are gone, the logo ones. So only ones left are Raiden, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and I don't know if they're going to do another batch, because who knows? I mean, this could be it. But it's pure silver. So yeah, it's cool. So should we welcome our next guest before we jump more into the news, or What are you thinking?
Yeah, might as well. Let's do it. And welcome everybody. Paradox, Mike. Welcome. You're here for the culture. That's great. Everybody, we'd like to introduce our 6th Soulstream guest. We have on somebody who we feel like we've hit the jackpot with today. His name is Khasino. Phantom loves my jokes. Welcome, Khasino.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Khasino, welcome to the show. It's glad to have you on. So for those of our viewers who don't know who Khasino is, Yanni, do you want to fill them in?
Basically, one of the main go-tos for anything Onslaught related. Info, guides, everything. Runs an official Discord server. I'm pretty sure the website too. Is that right, Khasino? The unofficial website, of course.
Unofficial website, unofficial Discord, but also the only website and the only Discord that we have right now. So it'll have to do.
Well, welcome. Glad to have you on.
Thank you very much for having me.
So before we jump too much into Mortal Kombat Onslaught, let's kind of go through the rest of the Mortal Kombat news for this week. Oh, I'm disappointed my last link didn't work. Hold on a second. Let me pull this up. You guys might have seen this infographic kind of going around the internet lately. But there has been a study on, as a lot of people on Twitter are posting it, they're just calling it the most toxic fan bases out there.
I knew it was going to be that.
Let me get my link ready. All right, so Word Tips is the name of the people that did this study, and they basically went out there and they went to find out. Oh, none of my links are working.
If it's the one I'm thinking, it's the most toxic fan base. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much. They did a study to see which fan base was the worst. I mean, that's kind of what it is. What they did is they compared how many negative words were being recited by a fan base for every 1,000 words that they're putting out there. So they were looking on social media, Twitter, Facebook, things like that, and they wanted to see who's talking the most negatively about things.
This is actually the opposite of what I expected.
There's no chance this is accurate because League of Legends isn't even in the top 5.
Exactly. And Pokemon is there in positive. I'm very confused here.
I mean, Pokemon fans, do they hate Pokemon?
But with Violet and Scarlet, there was this there was a lot of anger in how it pushed away from what Arceus did. They were made by 2 separate teams, as far as I'm aware, but it's sort of like a step back in a way and a few steps forward in other ways. So there was a lot of criticism regarding Violet and Scarlet, and I'm very shocked to see it up as number 3 in terms of positive, as I am with Diablo. That is also very shocking. I'm sure the Diablo 4 news is helping, but very confused here, I must admit.
I'm surprised Diablo was up there. Well,
but then again, if you're going to take this chart, sorry, but just quickly, if you're going to take this chart at face value, we have Borderlands in both as number 5.
Oh, yeah. Well, so, okay, it was a limited... so Borderlands is on there twice because they also had the most positive words and the most negative words. So
they're the most emotional.
Yeah, I guess so. And they didn't just do video games; they did everything. You can find the chart out there. We'll post it up later when we put up some show notes for this episode. But they did anime, they did musicians. I'm just happy that Mortal Kombat, it's down here on 165, but the most toxic fan bases out there are by far Call of Duty and Rihanna. So
I never would have guessed Rihanna.
I didn't either. Yeah, I mean, I guess
that's out of the blue for me.
I feel like most people love her. Where are all these people just talking smack on her all day?
It might have been they might have been doing the study right around the Super Bowl, and
oh yeah,
just guessing.
Maybe.
know.
It does make sense. I mean, I think we should all just be proud that Mortal Kombat made it in, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, Mortal Kombat fans don't have anything negative to say about Mortal Kombat, right?
Never. Nothing at all. Like everybody, for example, everybody loves the new Sindel, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I only got 2 more things of news, and then we can jump into Onslaught. But did you guys? I feel like a broken record because we just talked about Last of Us last month when they showed the arcade machine, and now all of a sudden it's back in Mortal Kombat news. Did
Well,
you
I
guys
mean,
watch
just for
Last of Us?
everybody, obvious Last of Us spoilers for the second last episode, as far as I remember. This was from, what, 2 weeks ago?
I mean, it's not really a spoiler. They played
It's not a
video game.
spoiler, but it's also a spoiler. Come on, it's part of the episode.
Yeah. So in the Last of Us episode, what was cool about this was Ed Boon actually responded to it. And Yanni, you want to go ahead and read his tweet out?
Sure, but I mean, maybe a bit of a background what happened. So for those of you who haven't seen and don't mind hearing this, at some point in the episode, they go and they actually find or turn on an arcade and they actually play Mortal Kombat, and it's pretty cool because this is sort of referred to in a previous episode where Ali mentions that she loves Melina, and you actually get to see why she loves Melina in this episode because they actually get to play and everything, and they spend a while playing. And yeah, so Ed Boon tweets about it and gets responses back from, I think it was Neil Gaiman.
Oh yeah, he did, yeah.
So he says, I don't remember the last time I was hooked on a show as much as The Last of Us, so seeing Mortal Kombat featured as prominently as it was last night was a huge thrill. And it's pretty cool because you get a little bit of a back and forth between him and Neil.
Yeah,
although I'm not sure I see that on your link.
Yeah, I don't have that thread on here, but it's cool that, kind of watching these guys talk about something like that. To me, I don't know, seeing the game on The Last of Us, it didn't really, I didn't care, but...
Oh, okay. I was excited. The moment I heard the music, I was sitting there, I'm like, oh my god, Mortal Kombat's coming, Mortal Kombat's coming, Mortal Kombat's coming. Yes!
Well, it's Mortal Kombat 2, so it's one of the best ones out there.
Exactly. Hey, Katana's fans.
All right, so and then the last piece of news is also related to that. This one was pretty cool. So a lot of people don't realize that to make that scene in Last of Us, they actually brought in an arcade expert to create it. And you're probably like, what the heck does that mean? So if you've ever tried to record a CRT monitor like they used in the old video game arcade machines, or a TV, you see there's like lines over it all the time. So they couldn't film it the normal way. So what they had to do is take an LED screen and they put it in place of the screen on the game. And then they digitally recorded Mortal Kombat 2 playing, and they put scan lines over it to make it look like a CRT. And they went through all this trouble just to create realism. So the girls weren't actually playing, of course, and they had recorded these video clips already. And it's funny because some of our Mortal Kombat community out there, like Tabmock, for example, noticed it. And he said, hey, there's a Mortal Kombat logo over top of the timer. This isn't normal. Yeah. And this isn't something that you can turn on in the arcade machine. And so I don't know. I kind of love that fans picked up on it. But yeah, they brought in an actual arcade expert to create Mortal Kombat for the Mortal Kombat scene.
What was also interesting, I think, was that I didn't catch this while it was happening. Admittedly, I don't remember the actual inputs, but somebody said that the inputs for the fatality that was mentioned was actually incorrect. I think you're supposed to hold down high kick or something like that instead, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Yeah.
Oh, I can clarify this one just because I found it interesting in all the debate. So, apparently you hear like 3 or 4 clicks in the scene to perform the fatality. And the most common way to perform that fatality is to just hold, I forget if it's high kick or block or something like that, but you just hold down a button near the opponent and it'll do the fatality. So there were people just coming out of the woodwork basically saying like, all those clicks, that is not accurate. It shouldn't sound like that. But then Ed Boon stepped in and he said, I think I should remind some of the people who are forgetting that there's 2 ways to do this fatality, and you can also do it in a way where you have, while holding, I forget if it's block or back, you hit like high kick twice, something like that. And so it does actually make, I think it was still off by like 1 click, but it was not unreasonable.
Yeah, that's cool. Fair. That's actually pretty cool. I'm glad that he kind of addressed that too.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's all my news. So I think we should kind of jump into what everybody's here for. Everybody wants to know about Onslaught. So, Khasino, that's why you're here too.
Not a problem.
Yeah, you want to take us away?
Sure, yeah. For those of you who are unaware, just in case, Mortal Kombat Onslaught is an upcoming Mortal Kombat mobile game, which I must admit is pretty awesome for a mobile game. I'm not a big mobile game player. I did give MK Mobile. It's weird to say that because that's literally the name of the game, but I did give MK Mobile a go for a while, and it was cool in terms of collection and stuff, but it didn't really catch me in terms of the gameplay. But Onslaught seems to have an actual proper story to it. It seems to have actual sort of gameplay where you can, which is cool in a way, where you can leave AI to do it for you, or you can do it yourself in a way. It's a weird sort of and cool sort of balance between you actually playing the game and what you'd expect from sort of mobile games, really. Now, we mentioned earlier, Khasino, you have an unofficial website, mkonslaught.com, as far as I'm aware. There it is, right up there. So, everybody, this is pretty much the main resource for anything you want to know about Onslaught at this point in time, which they are able to get. Would you like to start off talking about the website? Would you prefer to go into the story, Khasino? What would you like to do?
Well, I guess I'll start off by just clarifying some details about the game. So, for people who are a bit more familiar with mobile games, the genre is, some people call it a gacha game, which is Gacha, and some people will call it a hero collector RPG or an idol style RPG. And it has elements of all those. It's pretty standard. It's a these days it's a very well ironed out genre of game. So just to give you an example, right now, if you're familiar with Avatar: The Last Airbender, they just released a hero collector less than a month ago. Their marketing is not good, which is why no one's really heard of it, unfortunately.
Big Avatar fan, I had no idea.
Exactly. Lord of the Rings has a hero collector in soft launch. Street Fighter Duel just theirs has been out for several years in Asia, and they just brought it over to the US through Crunchyroll, rather. So they have a hero collector idol style game, but it's a very tried and tested formula for a game, and then you just kind of paint your IP over it. Star Wars has one. In fact, I know that this genre of game really well. The content I'm probably best known for these days is Marvel's version of an idol style hero collector game. So a lot of the things about Onslaught are not particularly unique to Onslaught per se, but I always get excited at the possibilities that hero collectors open up, which is that you can, if the game, has a healthy lifetime and really goes on, the collection can get really, really expansive. And so while in the past in Mortal Kombat games, they have tried to bring in every character that's ever been under the Mortal Kombat umbrella as a playable character, hero collectors really allow you to do that, unlike any other, because they can have a roster of 300 characters, and that's perfectly normal. I think Marvel Contest of Champions is approaching 300 characters, something like that.
How does balance work in games like that, honestly?
Well, for starters, not all characters are created equal. So, some of the older characters, it's always shifting, and they kind of keep it in flux. So when a character is just too bad and too neglected, but is kind of a fan favorite, they'll either just eventually give that character a rework and overhaul them, or they'll introduce characters that have synergy, because a lot of it is about team combinations and team building. So if you have a character that's just kind of sitting around not doing anything, you can introduce another character that it makes sense to pair them up with. Just as an example, if we're talking Marvel, if Wolverine in the game is just kind of weak and hasn't really been touched, then it makes sense to release, some new X-Men character that has synergy with him, and they both get stronger when they're used together, and that kind of pulls them back into relevancy. But the other thing is that games like this do a lot of I hope I'm describing this properly, isolation of different groups of characters. So they'll have classes or factions or all these various things. They have a bunch of tags. So in Onslaught, I want to say there's 7 or 8 tags. If you go to the companion site and just click on a character page, all the tags I made icons for, so you can just see however many there are. And so while this doesn't currently exist in Onslaught, I would bet any amount of money that it will, because they all do this, which is that they'll introduce some kind of game modes where it's like, you can thank Krasy for the ads there. Thank you, Krasy. You just click any character and you'll see the tags right under the name. So like the first one's an affinity. So every character is either body, mind, or spirit. And so they will, I'm sure, add, some kind of gear challenge or something like that where you can only bring body characters, you can only bring mind characters, etc. And so they'll kind of introduce all these different things to incentivize. It's about having them all kind of strong, and no matter which characters you're investing in, like for the arena, there might be only 5 or 10 characters that are really at that upper tier, but the arena will be such a small part of the overall landscape of the game because there will be all these different game modes. And so if they do it right, these other game modes will really make use of otherwise neglected characters as a way to get resources that you can put into the characters that you really love. So
okay, well,
they've
actually already. Sorry,
Oh, I was gonna say they've already started doing that too a bit in the story mode.
Exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah, if we wanted to get if we want to get all of our 3 stars in story mode, then it involved going in with these different affinities.
Yeah, they have been incentivizing the affinities to get the 3-star, which is a really small reward. It's not super enticing. It's a very small amount of currency. So they are, but they could do a better job of incentivizing it, I'll say. What they do have going is I think, and we'll get like more into the specifics, but the balance as far as like how much because games like this always have basically like a rock, paper, scissors affinity counter system set up, just like this one does. So like the body characters are strong against spirit but weak to mind, and the mind are strong against body but weak to spirit, and etc. It makes a rock, paper, scissors type thing. And so right now that affinity counter is just so powerful that it kind of dwarfs almost everything else. Like you can use a much weaker character who is the right affinity counter, and it kind of overrules a lot right now. So hopefully they tweak the balance on that. But
let's get more into this actually when we get to the stats. I definitely want to get to that topic. Don't worry. Firstly, to everybody who's been joining, sorry, it's been an in-depth conversation. Hi, everyone. We see you. Welcome to the chat. So Phantom, you just mentioned the story mode, and Khasino, you're sort of talking about the whole gameplay loop and everything. There's going to be multiple modes, etc., right? So let's start with the story mode itself. Firstly, Phantom, as you've just said, obviously we do have what you were just saying, Khasino. We have a sort of very bare bones approach to making each affinity useful in some manner. And in this case, it's really useful just specifically for the sake of gaining currency. So, for example, I guess for people who are unaware, we have 2 current chapters in Mortal Kombat Onslaught. We have the Scorpion chapter and the Johnny Cage chapter. This takes you through an alternate timeline of events which continues on from Mortal Kombat 11 when they all appear in the Colosseum. So, as you're going through the story mode, just a brief background for you all, as you're going through the story mode, you have to choose certain characters to fight. And the way that fights are done in Mortal Kombat Onslaught is you'll have 4 characters on 4, or at least a maximum of 4 on 4, as far as I'm aware, correct?
Well, no, you can select up to 4, and then some of the characters can summon, but as far as your opponents, you can face waves of enemies that are 6, 7 enemies.
Yes. So, with that in mind, you have to pick your 4 characters to take on these hordes or individuals, depending on if you're fighting a boss, for example. Yep. And depending on, for example, in my story mode, I left one which was 2 ranged characters to be required to get a specific amount of currency. If you win with 2 ranged characters, you get 15 crystals, right? So I left that for ages because I had no leveled up ranged characters because I just didn't want to level any of them up until now. At which point, oh, you know what? Time to level them up, throw them in there, get those 5 crystals or whatever. So that sort of relates to what you were just talking about, right?
Yep.
But how about the actual sort of gameplay loop aside from story mode? Because once you're done with story mode, you have to pretty much just something else to do. And you're mentioning that all these other games have these modes. Are you seeing these modes being replicated in Onslaught very much?
Well, so how do I put this? Onslaught in some ways has things that I think are really, really well done. Like the actual character models, even though they're just for the most part downscaled versions of models of the characters from other games. The way they've incorporated the models and the animations and some of the other stuff that you actually see going on in combat looks really, really nice for a mobile game. Mm-hmm. But right now, a lot of the systems design is really, really simple. It's really, really bare bones. There's a lot of things that most games of this type run by teams of maybe 10 people at most will have like 10 times the amount of content that this game does already. And there's just like really, really easy ways to implement it. So some of the development choices for this game, I'll say confuse me, but so we have to back up before I get too much into that. There's a few disclaimers I want to mention. So the first is I wouldn't judge the game too much based on what you see now here today, because this game, from everything I can gather, is really, really early in development. And when I say really, really early in development, I participated in a lot of closed betas for a lot of different mobile games. And when I got into Mortal Kombat Onslaught, it was patch 0. Yeah.
Sorry.
When I first got into Mortal Kombat Onslaught, it was patch 0.1.0, which is like any earlier than that was just only the devs in their offices. I have never seen a game let people in, even a very small amount of people in a restricted early access in a specific region. I've never seen a game let people in this early. So since then, we've had 0.1.1, 0.1.2, and now we're at 0.1.5. And very, very little has changed since October. There have been a few bug fixes, a few tiny little things cleaned up, but nothing new really added. In the most recent patch, they added one new tower to an existing game mode boss tower. But that one was in the files the entire time. And so they maybe just updated a couple of the numbers and actually just flipped it on. But so they haven't really added anything new in the entire time that we've seen them work on it. And so it's more or less still like very similar to the 0.1.0, which is just like a lot of times when you get into like a closed beta for one of these games, which is months out from release, even in that state, it's like a 0.3.0, somewhere in there. So this is just an unbelievably early version of the game. And so it's really, between that and the fact that they don't seem to be in a huge hurry to dump all the things they've been working on into the game, I'm afraid to judge it too much. I think by the time the game launches, it could look very, very different. But what I tell anyone who wants to play the game is, if you want to get into the game, it is fun, but you have to understand that it's not ready to be played as a game. Like, you can play it, but if you're like, oh, this will be my new main game and I'll just play this every day, like, you will get bored pretty quickly, because there's not that much to do. In your first week or so, there's plenty to do, collecting all the characters, playing through all the story. But once you're done with that, there's a couple different modes. There's Arena and Boss Tower, which I'm sure we'll get into in more detail. But there's not... those recharge... The Arena recharges, you can hold up to 5, and every hour you can do one more. But you can only store 5 at a time. And Boss Tower is every 80 minutes, and you can store up to 5 at a time. So once you've done the story, you're just kind of logging in, playing a few arena matches, a few Boss Tower matches, and then you're done. And then there's quite literally nothing you can do unless you want to replay the story battles for no reward. Which, why would you? They're, after a certain point, they're not challenging at all, and it literally awards you nothing. So the game is just kind of empty right now, and it also has a very small roster. There's only about 35 characters on the roster, and most games of this type that I see, by the time they launch, they have 50, 60 characters just as a starting point, which that may be the case for this game by the time it launches. But so the encouraging thing, the reason I tell people, like, if you are into this style of game, you should get in and you should be playing, is because the devs have already confirmed that all progress will be kept. Everyone playing in the early access right now, what they're earning, they will still have on their accounts come global launch. So
no, I didn't hear that. So the developers actually confirmed that?
So the way it was officially confirmed is support confirmed it. So we have a screenshot from support. I wrote them and asked, and they said all progress will be kept. And that is in line with the fact that it's considered an early access and not a beta test. An early access implies then now I should mention, well, I guess Lord of the Rings is calling theirs a soft launch and a closed beta, not an early access. So yeah, early access, all progress is kept. So I do think it's a fine time to get into the game, but you have to get into the game understanding that it kind of handles like an alpha test of a game. That's how it feels to me, is like an alpha test. And there's just not that much to do. So it's good as like an auxiliary game, not as a primary game in its current state.
Well, as far as I can tell, you mentioning all the updates and everything, we have had a few updates, as you said, 0.1, 0.2, 0.5, and the latest one has really just come with the most meat that was really just a tower. Every time I say meat now on the stream, I think of Kotal Khan. So you've got this new content, but one thing that I really think that they are focusing on with these updates is actually performance. And I think textures, I'm pretty sure the textures were updated in the last patch.
It's so I would did you switch phones or update your phone's operating system or anything like that?
Exactly the same.
What about like a system update on
no system update? Device? I noticed from one patch to the next patch, I noticed that firstly, so for example, let's talk boss towers, then we'll get into arenas. So boss towers, everybody, you have, at this point in time, 3 boss towers. You've got Goro's boss tower, Quan Chi's boss tower, and Liu Kang's boss tower. And you do Goro and Quan Chi's for certain types of gear, which we will talk about in more detail as well, and Liu Kang's for gold. Now, interestingly enough, Liu Kang's boss tower just gives you gold and doesn't count towards any of your saved up charges, as Khasino just mentioned. But it does count towards your dailies, which again, we will talk about with the gameplay loop. But what I noticed is prior to this update, when I was doing a Quan Chi or Goro boss tower, I just clicked the rematch quick win. And it would come up, give me the notification, gear that I got, press OK, repeat 5 times. So in between all those clicks and repeats, it would take a while to load everything. And I noticed that after the patch, firstly, the loading would be fast. So the loading feels now like what Liu Kang's loading screen is kind of like, but it's much faster. And I noticed as well that honestly, even the box itself, the textures on the box saying your gear reward and everything is actually much cleaner than it was prior.
So I want to touch on this in a few different ways. So the first is undeniably I have noticed for sure there have been performance improvements. The game is definitely running smoother and cleaner. One of the biggest things is they fixed a really, really annoying bug, which is that if you were online and someone attacked your arena defense team, you would just get kicked off the game. You would just crash. No matter what you were doing.
That's why I kept crashing.
Yeah, someone would attack your defense. Every once in a while, there's a crash just, for some other issue. But the bulk of the crashes were someone attacking your arena defense. And so they seem to have fixed that one. Now, there are a couple other huge bugs that it blows my mind that they haven't fixed, like the bug with the Kamidogu relic. Right now, the best relic in the game is the best relic in the game because of a bug attached to it, which we'll talk about. But
okay, I've not been lucky enough to get this yet.
Yeah, it's a broken item in more than one sense. Like right now, literally the best arena defense strategy is have 2 characters with a Kamidogu equipped, and you'll notice that the top players have that.
Okay,
it can basically force attacking teams to lose the match.
Is that the one? Is that the one where if you attack another team, and they use a special move on you, it crashes your game and you lose the match?
No, that crashing would still be someone attacking your defense.
I see. Okay.
The Kamidogu, I guess we can get into this now, but then I want to circle back to some of the performance adjustments.
That's okay. We'll come back to the relics. Don't worry. We'll come back to that. Let's continue with boss towers and arenas.
Well, I want to talk on the performance and stuff because you were giving them credit for the stability.
Sure.
So they fixed a really big crashing bug. So credit to them. And absolutely, the game runs much more smoothly and handles smoothly. However, they also cheated a little bit with the boss tower and the auto win being a little bit smoother. In that, like right now, so many of the UI elements are, for lack of a better word, just really, really clunky, annoyingly so. Like almost everyone that starts playing, as soon as they have to level up a character multiple times, every time you press level up, you sit for like a 4-second level up animation, and you can't. There's no like slider to do multiple at once. It's not like a +10. You have to click and then wait 4 seconds, and then click and then wait 4 seconds, and it is brutal and so unnecessary. And it's little things like that where I'm like, I get it that it's a really, really early product and it probably won't ship like that. But also, how did you publish even this version of it without being like, maybe there should be a +10 button or something so easy to implement? So a few of these things, I'm like, they concern me a little bit with some of the development choices. But so the way they cheated with the stability in the boss tower is it used to give character XP. And the character XP is attached to this animation where it would show all the little XP funneling into your inventory up in the top bar. And that took a while and made you sit there and was clunky. So they were just like, rather than address that animation being annoying, they're like, just don't give them character XP. Which, okay, like it wasn't a significant amount. No one missed it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But
and the one other
thing it could be just a temporary fix while they work on making the actual XP flow faster, right?
Yeah,
or process faster, rather.
While I find some of their decisions to be confusing, I will not outright come out and berate them for anything until after global launch, because it's really, really early in testing. It's not supposed to be perfect yet, so I can understand that. But I did want, you had mentioned the textures. So what's interesting is I imagine and I don't know for sure, but I imagine eventually the game will let you decide like what you want your graphics settings to be. But currently, it just reads the stats on your device and like your operating system and things like that, and it just assigns you a graphics profile, and it says these are the graphics you can handle. This is what you get. And so it's possible that because like I've been on the highest graphics it can support the entire time, but if you're saying I notice better textures, it's possible that in the new update they reviewed it and they went, you know what, these devices that we were saying to be on the medium graphics, these can handle the high graphics now. Let's move them up.
Interesting, because I had it set to high this whole time. I'm pretty sure you can actually set it yourself, right? And
no,
I'm pretty sure
you can't set the graphics.
No,
you can. No.
Oh,
no, the only way
I might be thinking just the volumes. I turned that off.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
But I know you can't set the graphics because it drove me crazy. I mean, they have now successfully prevented people from playing on Android emulators, which is a content creator. I really wish they hadn't done that. It's very inconvenient to not be able to play on an emulator for me. But one of the things that used to really upset me with the emulator is that even though my emulator was emulating a really, really high-end device, because it was also emulating like Android 9 operating system, it would only allow me to have the medium graphics because the Android operating system wasn't like 10 or 11 or higher. So I could not get the highest tier of graphics on my emulator, and it drove me nuts. And I was trying so many things to get around that.
Khasino, would you like to showcase some of the gameplay so that some people can see it while we're talking?
Sure.
And we got a question here from CS7. He's asking, is there any update on global launch? Khasino, unless you've heard something I haven't, so far it's just 2023.
The official word is 2023.
But we will talk a little bit later about the early access program, just so you know, if you are interested in playing it, there are still ways to play. As Khasino was mentioning, you can't download the I don't know, is it an illegal APK? But you can't download that.
No, it's not illegal, but there is a way to play, so we can get that. I should probably talk about that after we show a little bit of gameplay to explain to everyone what's going on. But it's not illegal, so no fear there.
Okay.
I'll move this over to screen 2 and do this the easy way. Just a sec. This over. Come come on now.
I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody thinks of the characters when we get to that section. That's going to be interesting.
I do have all of the characters, and then I do also, so all the models that you see on the site, I personally like loaded up their textures and everything and rendered them. So I don't know why it's not letting me move this window. Oh, now it will. Okay, never mind. But I rendered all the models and textures and everything. So there are a good amount of characters not playable in the game, but they have their models and textures and everything. And so I went ahead and rendered those out as well. So
definitely want to discuss that towards the end, I think, actually, because I
sure.
want to talk about where the game is going. Because CS7, you're asking when the game's releasing. Obviously, as we just mentioned, we only know it's going to be 2023, according to what they've stated. But we can at least talk about what's on the way towards the end as well.
All right, let's try this. There we go. That should do it. All right. Looking good?
There we go.
All right.
So I'll, if you want, I don't know, I'll just leave it like this. But yeah, this is the home screen. And it currently has public ID in the top left with a really, really long code. I imagine that will change. But like really, really bare bones here, even on the home screen. You'll notice there's not like a settings cog or a news tab or anything, which I'm sure they will add at some point. And this is, I do.
I like the team.
I rotate.
I
them
thought
a
you,
bit.
man. I'm sorry. It's kind of stupid that it's just clicking now because I know your name. I fought you so many times at this game. it only just clicked now.
So I'll have to look and see. I imagine I've fought you as well, but it's kind of nice. We're like a very small knit community playing Onslaught right now.
Yeah.
So like on the Discord, most of the top 200, like everyone knows everyone else, and so like because you would crash people attacking them in arena, people would be like checking with other people, like, hey, before I attack you, am I gonna kick you offline? People would come on and be like, hey, I'm doing stuff right now. If you guys could just not attack me for 15 minutes. And
I had no idea about this.
Yeah, I didn't either.
What, the Discord camaraderie?
No, the crashing.
Yeah.
From attacking somebody.
Oh yeah.
I feel bad for whoever I've attacked now.
The crazy coding boss says 3 frames per second. Just to be clear, this is streaming through the site, so it will look a little bit slower than.
And it is 4 FPS. Come on, man.
Oh, is it not good FPS? Because
we're just kidding.
Restreaming looks great. Another thing that they just changed with the newest update, by the way, so you can see here like the skull orbs at the top, which this is the summoning currency, so I can show people this. The crystals that you see there are the premium currency, and you can purchase you can use the crystals to purchase the skull orbs, and then you'll go into here. And so I'll just do a summon so people can see. By the way, this is one of my biggest pet peeves. If you look here, the summon times 10. In any other game of this type, the summon times 10 either offers a discount of some sort, so like it would only be 90 for 10, or it'll offer you some kind of a pity. Either it'll be like you get a bonus extra summon, or guaranteed you get at least one rare. This is the only gacha game I've ever seen where the 10 times summon is just 10 summons.
Well, and on this topic, I'm curious, sorry, but this does relate to what you're saying. So when Phantom and I both started playing this game, we both noticed that if you summon individually, one by one, 10 characters, you would have less of a sort of good reward than you would summoning 10 in a row with the actual times 10 option.
You know, the more I played, I think it might have just been you're seeing it all at once rather than doing it one at a time. But I mean, I don't know, maybe there is a science to it. Maybe that's actually
well. So what I will say is, and this is unique to all gacha games, is every single gacha game both has some sort of system on the back end that kind of plays with the odds in various ways, some of them more nefarious than others, but also unrelated to what they're actually doing on the back end, which is very, very difficult to identify, and you'll almost never get concrete proof of exactly how they're manipulating the odds. On the front end, you always have people who come up with all these crazy conspiracy theories like, oh, keep refreshing until Jade is the character there. Then you only summon on Wednesdays in even numbered hours, and that's how you get a 5-star. Like, it's tinfoil hat galore. I can't argue with anyone's personal experience. If you tell me like every time I do single summons, it's garbage, and every time I do a 10 summon, I get something great, that may be true for you. I have not noticed, and I've like helped a lot of people start up this game, I've not noticed any difference whatsoever in the luck in terms of what you get doing a 10 or 10 ones. I do find that if you just do an instant 10 summon, like you've saved up a lot, and then there's just like no suspense. It's just less exciting. So I tend to do them one at a time. The only thing I notice as far as like really messing with the odds is early on, you seem to have really good odds of pulling a second 5-star character within your first 20 to 30 summons. Pretty much everyone seems to get because right away when they're basically showing you how the summons work, you get a 5-star character. And so you'll always get one of the 4, but you can't get Goro. So you'll get one of 3 of the 4.
Interesting.
Can't get Goro as your starter 5-star. And while he's supposed to be the same power as the others, he's kind of undisputed as the strongest character in the game. He's
I've definitely noticed that.
Way too strong for a variety of reasons. But all the 5-stars are really in a category of their own. And so you'll always start with either Razor Hat Kung Lao, which we'll show when we get to the roster, Undying Shao Kahn, or Deadeye Aaron Black. We're all very...
Or as Mike B says, Pistol Pete. I think, if I'm understanding that correctly.
I think that is what he's getting at. But so if you look here, the actual odds of getting a 5-star are 1.5%. So it shouldn't really be that common, but I noticed that a lot of people within their first 20 summons after they've started tend to get a second 5-star pretty quick. Maybe that's a coincidence, but I'm noticing that it's happened too often for me to think it's a coincidence. So I think they've kind of spun up your luck then. And so it's possible that like one of your first 10 pulls, you got another 5-star and you were like, oh, this is the luckier way to go. I haven't gotten anything good since. So I don't know.
Do you want to try a pull now?
Yeah. I'll show people how it works here. Yeah.
Here we go. 5-star.
So that's
I'm calling all 3 stars.
That's a white. Yeah, that's garbage. It's Sub-Zero here. Sadly, Sub-Zero not very good. We will talk about a Sub-Zero variant that looks like he's going to be very good. And then if you get a duplicate, because I own every character, then it converts into an Affinity Soul. And so in this summoning pool here, there are 5-star characters, that's all of them, 4-star characters, and 3-star characters. But it's only a 50% chance of getting a character. The other 50% are these relics, which we'll also talk about. And the relics go on the characters, and some of them give them unique abilities like fatalities and such. But so how we got here in the first place was, as you can see, you can go in here and you can purchase more skull orbs, and you can also purchase with either crystals or the arena currency more gold coin. But in the most recent update, they removed the plus by the premium currency. Now, you were never able to purchase the premium currency, but there was a window that you could pop up by trying to, and it would say in-app purchases are currently down for maintenance, but they have never been up. They've been down the entire time. And so another thing that's very common in these types of games is letting people, spend some money, splash some cash, and get a bit of an advantage. And this game thus far has not had purchases enabled in any way, shape, or form. So you will see as this game goes on, people will be crying and complaining that the pay-to-win elements are not fair, and everyone should just have to go off luck and skill and not be able to buy progress. And so this is the first time I've ever been playing a game of this structure, where currently it is forcibly a free-to-play paradise, where everyone playing does have the exact same. It's perfectly fair, aside from who gets lucky and who doesn't. But aside from that.
I do want to address the currency, but first things first, I have to comment on this. I love the fact, I'm sorry, but I love the fact Fatality V2 UK that you've been playing since launch, and ironically, with your name, you haven't gotten one single fatality. I'm sorry, but I love that. Hopefully you get some good luck. Now, in terms of currencies, this is, well, clearly a mobile game. As you said, gacha game. You've got crystals, you've got gold, you've got arena tokens, you've got skulls. Now, or skull orbs, rather. So, are there any that I'm missing there, Khasino?
Depending on like what you want to consider a currency, just because sometimes it shows up there.
XP, for example.
Yeah, there's the relic XP. There's the character XP shows up there, and then there's the 4 different skill tomes or ability tomes.
Yes, I'm glad I asked you then, because that totally slipped my mind. Yes, the skill tomes are actually proving to be, for example, my biggest hindrance, I suppose, in progressing my characters. And this is, I think, one reason why I'm personally not a fan of these types of games, and I find it very interesting. Right now, for example, you're commending, or not commending, but you're saying how it's great that we're in this free-to-play paradise. But I find it interesting that one of the first things that was programmed or coded into the game was something about the in-app store already. That's literally one of the first things, even before the game is anywhere near release, apparently, and it's already there.
That's very standard.
Yeah. This is one of the things that personally I'm afraid of. I'm very much enjoying the game as a free-to-play paradise, as you said.
Yes.
But I do understand that it's going to lean more towards the whole gacha system, of course. But I really hope they find a nice balance. I don't think they will. It will target whales most likely, but...
Right. So I will always go to bat as a champion for the free-to-play players. I got started playing this type of game when I was not in a financial position to spend any money on games like this. And I understand that a lot of people playing, like we have people on the Discord who are playing and like they're 14. They don't have a job. They can't spend. They just love the game and the community and they just want to play and there's nothing they can do. And then there's other people who, you know, they have family and a life and their situation, you know, they're supporting other family members. They don't have money to spend on a game, but they still want to play and have fun. So I will always champion the free-to-play players. And I will always stress to any developer that the reason that the whales enjoy the game and stick around is to show off in front of all the other players who don't have what they have. If it's just, you know, 20 whales in a room, they get bored pretty quick. But if it's 20 whales and then 1,000 free-to-play players all ogling, oh, that's so cool. Can you show us? Oh, I can't wait to get that. I'm so jealous. That's what they, you know, that's what drives them. So having a really large, healthy, free-to-play community is worth so much. You know, if you're free-to-play and you're having a blast, and so you tell your friends, come play this game with me, your friend might be a spender who wouldn't have found out about the game unless you'd recommended they come check it out. So to me, the best thing you can do for a game like this is be as friendly as possible to the free-to-play while giving the whales an outlet to spend. And I've played other gacha games where they kind of get into a rhythm where it's essentially like brand new characters come out that are really, really strong, who can tackle the newest, toughest content. If you're willing to spend, you can get them right away. And if you're free to play, you'll be about 6 months behind, but in about 6 months, there'll be a way to get them for free. And that seems to be pretty fair in that the free to play players are like, all right, it's not that I'll never get this unless I spend. It's that I'll wait to get it for free rather than spend and have it right away. And even then, there's little systems where as a free to play, if you're really, really lucky, you have a chance, a very small chance, you know, maybe 1% of the free-to-play players still get that new character each time from just getting really lucky on a drop or something like that. And so I think that's a pretty fair balance, all things considered, but it's hard to resist the temptation. This style of game is really a money printing machine. Yes. And I have seen some insane levels of greed when it comes to these gacha games. In particular, there's ones in Asia, I don't want to mention any names, but they'll release a new character every week that completely invalidates the character that just released a few weeks ago. And they will be, you'll have to spend maybe $2,000 on average to unlock this new character, and that's just commonplace and accepted over there. And the players of those games will tolerate it and fund it. So,
well, actually, Alexander mentions a game that I wanted to bring up. Now, I'm a big Diablo fan. Diablo 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. I was cautiously excited for Diablo Immortal, and I played it completely free to play when it came out in the first couple weeks. And then at some point, I couldn't play it anymore, purely because I noticed that there was no point in me playing anymore in comparison to people putting in money. And now, I don't say this as a way to say, hey, don't let people buy anything in games. You know, like, man, spend your money how you like. Totally cool, as you like. But these kind of games, and it's really a shame, because in my opinion, Diablo Immortal, gameplay-wise, was actually, at least for me, I've mentioned I'm not a big mobile gamer, but for me, it was very innovative in how it approached the gameplay. It was very smooth. It was so well done. And then all the currencies and how to progress and everything, just for me, ruined it personally. I was really loving the game. I as much as I preferred D2 to D3, this felt like a continuation of D3, and I quite enjoyed it. But at some point, just the amount of pushing, like every menu you clicked on, oh, buy this for this, you know, and it's too much. It's in your face. And that is going to put players off. Some players.
With Onslaught, the thing that I've noticed about it is that it's not in its freemium status yet, but everything that I've played, I've enjoyed playing it as a free game. Where
yes,
I've been like, I could level up and I could do this, but just playing it through has been fun in its own right. And I think for the people who are putting a lot of money into the game, they're going to be able to do more in the person-to-person battles in Onslaught. But overall, it seems like whenever you're doing that type of a battle with somebody, that you are actually kind of in a grouping. Like you're fighting against people that are in a similar level to you for the most part. So the higher up level that I became in the game, the higher up level people I was fighting. And I don't know if that's because everybody's playing at the same time I was, or if that's actually how it's designed. So
just general, I mean, you'll climb more if you're winning every match that you're fighting. Then unless your defense is really weak, you're gonna rise up in the ranks, and eventually you'll get to a point where you're just not winning all your matches. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it tends to balance out like that. And it is, I will say, I hope that a similar system stays. I fear it won't, but the current arena system is really, really interesting. It's unlike any other arena system in that...
Do you want to pull that up, Khasino, so we can see it?
Sure. It's the way that they conduct the rewards. It's different than most in a few different ways. By the way, I'm not actually the lowest rank. I mean, technically I am, but arena reset.
It just reset.
Morning, a full reset. Normally, it just resets you back to the nearest full tier. So I was in like Master 4 or Master 3. Normally, it would just reset you back to Master, whatever the bottom one is, Master 5. But until today, it was every 6 weeks. As of today, the next one will be in 12 weeks, which is new. But they'd been doing a full reset every 6 weeks. So everyone got sent all the way back to the bottom.
So I have to ask you, sorry, how do you know when the full reset is? Because I've lost now twice a huge bunch of arena tokens when I was saving up last time for the Datushka Chris and everything. Like I've lost all these arena tokens, and obviously it's turned into gold. But I've had no idea when it was going to reset.
Oh well, so now we got to talk about two different things. But you can see right here on the arena season in progress, 11 weeks, 6 days.
Yes.
So
okay.
That's
right in my face.
And well, yes, but in really, really small font. And then if you go in here and you look in the top left, time remaining 6 days, 16 hours.
That's what I assumed it was. I thought they were the same.
Yeah. Well, in the final week, they line up. So if you determined that 3 days ago, you would be right. It would be both resets. But so what Scorps just said in the chat, no, you don't have to give your tokens for gold. So they do something really shady. You'll notice that I've only played a couple of those, at least one of those losses is defense. I've only played 5 offense matches and I have 235 tokens. And down in Initiate, we only get 5 tokens. So you'll notice mine did not convert to gold. They do something really, really rude, I feel, which is when the full season reset happens, you get a pop-up message saying, hey, claim your crystals, and you hit claim, and then that pop-up goes away, and there's another pop-up right under it that says, and convert all your tokens to coins, right?
Oh, really?
And it's enticing you to click OK. If you exit out, then you keep your tokens. But it's so if
Are
you're
you
just,
serious?
if you're just tap, you hit it, and you'll spend your tokens on gold coins, which is like, that's just a dick move. I hate the way
it
they
really is. I'm pissed off whoever designed that. Screw you, straight up. This is the second or third time, maybe.
Yeah. And the first time it happened, I put out a server announcement like, you don't have to click yes to that, and you shouldn't.
Oh,
don't turn
man.
gold. Now that we have a new gold boss tower, don't do it.
I mean, I'm turning on my game right now. I want to see just how much gold I have. You ready?
Oh, probably a good amount.
I don't think it's going to show up if I try. It's 16.49 million.
Oh my goodness. That is so much gold.
Everybody compare that to what he sees, what you see on his screen. 16.5 million. That's
so much gold. Wow. How many arena tokens did they steal from you, essentially?
A lot. Let's just say that.
Wow. Yeah, you're rightfully upset. Feel free to write into support and be like, that's a real dick move, guys.
Yeah, no, I think I will, because I had no idea that I could actually just ignore that, because I'm looking now at the rewards. Where's the arena store? Get that up there. Although you can put that up on the screen there, actually.
Yeah, I can put it for sure. There you go.
CS7 says he is rich, but in
okay, so this is everything now, except for the...
So this is what I wanted to buy. That's exactly what I wanted to buy, the tomes. And here I am, not able to progress my characters now, because instead the game forced me to get... and that's really shady.
A lot of people didn't think it was optional. They were like, yeah, we have to do it.
To me, it didn't look optional. It just says, it gave me an option to press OK. Say not OK next to it.
No. Yeah, exactly. And don't hide it directly under the one where you just clicked it. Because if you're just like, ding, ding, you're not thinking there's another pop-up right under it. So yeah, exactly. I hate the way they've implemented it. It's not nice. It's rude. They've been doing this to people, and they always get some people. Every single time they get some people. And yeah, it's cool. The first time I saw the message, I looked up in the currency bar before I clicked OK, and my tokens were still showing up top. So I just restarted my game. I was like, I don't want this to happen. And then I learned, oh yeah, you can hit the X, but yeah, it's rude. It's rude what they've done.
That's really not cool. I mean, that's a ton of progress on my team, which is now wasted, and I've got to wait to make some huge progress in the arena again. I mean, on one hand, I can level all the characters I want up now. I'm set. You say this until it goes pay to win, and then suddenly I don't have much gold anymore. But
even then, I feel like it will be good on gold somehow. I've gold every single. We mathed it out. I believe it's like 4 mil, I think, to take someone, or 400K. I forget. I have to check how much gold. I have the number literally on our server. Let me pull it up and find it.
Oh, let's see it. Yeah, pull it up. I'm curious because I'm waiting for new characters if that's the case.
It's different by their star tier here. Is this it? Yes. Oh no, sorry. That's stat for a star. Okay, here we go. Yes. Oh, it's so much cheaper than I thought. Okay, so a 3-star to level them all the way to 60, which won't be the max level forever, but it is for now, is 388,865 coins, so less than 400K. To get a 4-star all the way to 60, 479,435, so it's under 500K. And a 5-star, of which currently there's only 4 of them, 598,785, so it's under 600K. So you have enough gold to take every single character on the roster.
Oh yeah, I just did the math. Yeah, you are right. I'm good.
I had
By the
no
way-
idea that was in the game that you could pull up that information. That
Oh,
shows
no,
how
that's-
much of run.
That is from our Discord.
Okay.
We have a
I have
channel
enough
called
to
Useful
take-
info.
I have enough to take 27 characters to 60. Now, bearing in mind, firstly, this could be adjusted. Secondly, they're going to add more characters.
Yeah.
Thirdly, for all we know, I mean, like not just adjusted, they could increase that big time. You know what I mean? So
as soon as they up the level cap, right? Because like right now you can't max.
that's right. That was the other point. Exactly. What if the level cap increases? For all I know, this is going to be nothing.
Yeah, it'll cost more to go from 60 to 80 than what it costs to go from 0 to 60. I'm sure.
Because I think the cap in the quests, in the achievements, is 100. Is it not?
I think that one might even go to 120. And we can face like I think like level 85 enemies in the boss tower stage 6s, something like that.
So in plain English, does that mean that it's better to upgrade now or to wait until after the full release?
It won't matter. The only way in which it would matter is if they change the associated costs, which we have no way of knowing if they will. But what I will say is like you never want to be out of gold, so don't just take up everyone unless you have more than enough gold to do so and still have a nice stash. But like as soon as they raise the level cap, assuming that you're sitting on plenty of XP, the more gold you're sitting on, the more of your characters you can immediately shoot up to that higher level. So if you just spent your gold taking up all these characters you don't care about, so save yourself a nice stash, but don't be afraid to take up people now either.
Well, let's get an idea from you. What's your currency like in terms of XP, for example?
I've been banking XP like since like the second day of the early access, so I have plenty of XP. I don't know why it's not showing here. There.
You have to click on a character that you need to level. Yeah, there we are.
1.91 million.
Okay, so I'm not too far off from you then. That's all right.
Yep. And in that same channel where I had the gold costs, we have the XP costs, and they are much less. For a 3-star, it's a little over 77,000 XP. For a 4-star, it's 95,000, almost 96,000, and for a 5-star, it's just shy of 120,000 XP. But so
I think the real takeaway from this is to actually level your characters before fusing them, which maybe you want to talk about.
Well, so I have not actually tested if you, because we're looking at like the base star level. If you took a 3-star to a 4-star, I don't think that the associated cost increases.
Okay.
And it's so this game does another thing that's kind of weird, which is like if you take a 3-star character and elevate them to 5-star, by no means does that make them on par with a base 5-star character. In other games, it would be, at least stat wise, they would be going toe to toe with each other, and then whichever character had the better kit, which would typically be the one that came out at 5-star, they would be better because of what their abilities were. But at least in terms of stats, they would be fairly even. In this game, not only is that not the case, but starring up characters in this game is incredibly negligible. So we've done those numbers as well, and I really, really hope these numbers change, because going from 3 to 4-star, all it does is increase the character's attack and HP, only those two stats, none of the others, by 3%. Going from 4 to 5, again, just attack and HP, less than 3%, 2.89%. And then finally going from 5 to 6, just the attack and HP. I don't know why they neglect defense here. And it's plus 3.78% to each of those. And so to put that in perspective, I'll show you this. This is a torso that I have on my Scarlet here. And you'll notice that this piece alone is giving 4% health, 10% attack, and 7% crit damage, 1% crit chance. This one gear piece is giving more...
enough of a fusion.
Yeah, more attack than taking a 3-star to a 6-star, just in that one piece of gear.
So we shouldn't even upgrade our stars on our characters if that's the case.
I mean, so the reason I have been doing it is it does technically make them stronger, and it's not like I can use those soulbind materials for anything else. But anyone who is like, I'm gonna hang on to them and see if there's eventually some better way to spend these, that's not unreasonable. You're not really weakening yourself very much by doing that. But I've taken a couple characters to 6-star. For example, Goro, even though it's negligible, Goro has a massive health bar stat and a massive attack stat, and so
percentage increase is worth.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it made him stronger. It didn't make him dramatically stronger, but it made him stronger. So I went for it. What I did want to circle back to a couple things that we brought up so far. So we talked about the skill tomes, and you're absolutely right that the rate at which we acquire the skill tomes feels kind of painfully slow. But there's a couple things I want to address on that. The first is you always have to have some resource that comes in kind of slowly, and it's fairly standard in these types of games for it to be leveling up the abilities. And so it's, in a sense, it's a good thing that you're like, I want more of these, and it takes a while, but like having something where you're like, after weeks of saving, I can finally do this and it feels good. Like having a more long-term goal is nice, is essential, even if you log in every day and you're like, I need more of these, what the hell? So that I don't mind as much. You know, if I just, everyone's abilities are maxed, like we'd be bored way faster. But the other thing is they have to leave room for adding in new content that can provide that as a reward and still not have you feel like you're drowning in it. So if there's a particular resource you run into where you're like, man, we barely get any of this, I see that as like, well, then it's likely something in the future will be introduced that gives you some of those. And that way, when that happens, you're like, I love this new game mode. Thank God. It's faster. It feels great.
I can see it being like, to enter this game mode, you need to have loads of gold. And for me, just saying, I hate you developers who did this. I love you. Thank you so much for making me get all this gold.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the other thing. Of course, they're going to sell you some stuff. So, you know, if every resource in the game, you're like, I have more than enough. This is great. I don't need any more. I'm basically drowning in the stuff. Then when they pop up an offer like, well, for $19.99, you can have a big I don't need that. You're not going to buy it. So there's a few different reasons why it's rare. But so I'm with you that the ability tomes come in painfully slowly, but it's something that I feel you have to accept as just part of it, because I'm not struggling to bring in gold and I'm not struggling to bring in XP. So it's good that I'm struggling to bring in something.
That's true. You do want a long-term goal, as you said. Yeah.
Look at all the level 60s on my roster. I didn't even realize I had this many level 60s, and I could put more arena tokens towards the gold as well. But I'm not even trying to get all my characters to 60, and I've almost accomplished that unintentionally. I do like the theory craft, so if I'm like, I suspect this character's good here, I'll take him up just to try him out for something. But back to go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, because we've mentioned soul binding, and I think maybe it's a good idea to explain that to somebody who's never played this game before. And same thing with relics and fusing the relics. Sure.
We can cover all that. So, soul binding here, I've actually done so much soul binding that I don't have any 3 stars left. All my characters are at least 4-star, because there's always a weekly quest to soul bind someone. But so the way it works is when you summon a character like I did earlier and you get a duplicate, you get a soul, and you'll see that here if we go into the soul binding. Okay, that's a bad example here. So we've got 2 4-star body souls, and you can either fuse those from the 3 stars. So you see here, I have 3. If I had a 4th one, I could fuse the 3 stars that I have up to a 4-star. But I don't think I can fuse any.
No need to. Don't worry about that. But it's just to give people an idea. So you get these souls from getting characters who you already have unlocked.
Yes.
And at that point in time, when you get enough of these souls, you spend a bit of gold, you spend those souls, and then straight up just soul bind in that character is now, what was it, 3% increase?
On average, because it's different depending on the star, it's 3%, 3 to 4, 2.89%, 4 to 5 and 3.76%, I think, 5 to 6. And again, that's in the useful info channel on our Discord, but it's negligible. And as you can see, it's just to the attack and HP stat. There are a lot of other stats that the characters have here, but it only benefits those two. And it's not.
This is not a tip because it is, like Khasino keeps saying, it is negligible. So this is just kind of showing you how to do it in the game.
Yeah.
Let's take a look back at the relics though, and
Sure.
how to fuse relics and stuff like that, because that seems like a better option than worrying about upgrading your characters like this.
Sure. Relics are massive. My Sub-Zero disappeared. That's odd. All right, we'll go with Ammo Sonya Blade. Stealth Sub-Zero, new ability. But so there's a whole bunch of different kinds of relics, and the interesting one, so all the common relics are unrestricted. They can be put on everyone. Every relic that's a higher grade than common has a restriction. Almost all of them are a class restriction. So it'll say like only attackers can equip this, or only supports can equip this. There is one, literally one, that breaks that trend, and it is only a role can equip this, and it is the Assassin's Blade, which only assassins can equip, which is interesting. But then there are fatality relics, which are unique, which you saw here on Camo Sonya. And so you'll notice if we go down here in the description, it'll say fatality kisses Sonya blows a kiss that ignites her opponent. And so that is in addition to all the stats and everything else that a relic does, and it's cool, it's 3D. It will unlock a fatality for the character. And so I can see in the future like a different epic relic also only for Sonya that gives her a different fatality and different stats and different effects.
Where is it that it says that it's only for Sonya, that it'll give her the fatality and things like that?
Well, so under, I'll just go to the full list of relics so you can see it even easier here. Hold on. And right now, only the epic relics allow for fatalities, and not all of them. So, for example, the Draman's Mask is just an epic relic that's only for tanks. But we have 3 fatality relics currently in the game, which can apply to 4 characters because there are 2 Sonyas in the game right now. There's Johnny Cage's Superstar Boom Mic, and so you see can only be equipped to Johnny Cage characters under the stats, and then also Fatality Mic Check below the effect. And then there is General Blade's Aviators can only be equipped to Sonya Blade characters, but you, interestingly, because there are variants in this game, which I don't think we've talked about, so I'll back up and show that after, but this can go on both Sonyas simultaneously, and you can get double the benefit. And then Cryomancer's Frozen Axe. What's interesting about Cryomancer's Frozen Axe is it is a very, very offensive relic designed for Sub-Zero. But the current Sub-Zero in the game is a tank, but the unreleased Sub-Zero, at least thus far, is an assassin. So
Ooh.
I believe that this Sub-Zero relic is for the Sub-Zero we don't have yet. But so to show people how the variants work, not every character currently has a variant, but we found a variant list, and every character will likely have one, if not multiple variants, but some of them already do. So this is Sonya Blade. She starts out as a 3-star. I've taken mine up to 4-star, but she's a 3-star. You'll notice that she's a support caster, body affinity. She has all her own abilities. She's got 3 abilities, but she's a completely unique character. And then separate from Sonya Blade, you'll see here, Camouflage Sonya Blade. And this is a completely separate character. You can have them both on the team standing right next to each other, and they are completely different. This one is spirit, not body. She's tank defender. Her abilities, she has 4 abilities, and they're all completely different. So they do share some tags, but either Sonya can equip this Sonya Fatality Relic because it is for any Sonya Blade characters. And so you can put one on each of them. And this one is interesting in that it says Special Forces teammates start the battle with 12% of their special attack meter charged. And as you level it up more, I think it can go up to 30%. But you can have one on both Sonyas, and you can start with 60% of your special ability if you had 2 fully maxed versions of this relic on each Sonya. But that's incredibly rare and unlikely to happen because it's an epic relic and it's very, very, very rare. But so to explain limit breaking, so every relic, when you first get it, you can take it up to level 15. And so you'll see here's the bone scythe I have, and it'll say limit breaks 0 out of 5. And the way to limit break it, let me find one that I'm sure I have one I can just limit break for you guys to see. Yeah, I can limit break an Oshtek helm. So the normal way that you level up a relic is you just give it some relic XP. So this is a small relic XP. They come in medium, large, and it'll level it up. But if you instead, you can also level it with other relics. So if I wanted to sacrifice this epic relic, I could do that. And if you specifically level it up with an identical relic, the same relic, then it will limit break it. It will, as you can see, this one's going to level 1 out of 5, and you'll see the maximum goes from 15 to 18. So you can level break up to 5 times and ultimately open up the max level to 30. And so, for example, this creates an interesting scenario where every relic in the game you can summon from the summoning pool except for one. And that is the Datusha Chris, which is only in the arena store. And I have it here. Well, here's what's interesting about this one, and I hope they address this. So this relic is very, very good. Like
this is the one that you were saving for?
Yes. And you can still save and buy it, but I'll make you feel a little bit better. Still not, you won't be thrilled that they stole all your arena tokens, but the Datusha Chris, as good as it is currently not useful at all, really, because you cannot limit break it. Because although every other purchase in the arena store resets, let me go back here. The Datusha Chris does not reset in the arena store. You'll notice I can't buy a second copy of it, and it's not summonable. So my Datusha Chris cannot go beyond level 15. So like that bone scythe I showed you earlier, because it can go to level 30, it's better.
Oh wow. Okay, even with the passive.
Yep.
Interesting. Huh.
Yeah, the stats are just so much better. So the Datusha Chris really suffers from that. And so a lot of the epic relics really suffer from this. Now I should also mention that like they have some, as I said, they've made some questionable design decisions. Some of these epic relics are just awful. They're just not good. It makes no sense to really equip them. They suck. And some of the ones that exist are not that bad, but as you can see, the likelihood of duplicating any given one, so like I have a Bloodstone of Vaeternus. Let's say I'm like, all right, I want to get this thing to level 30. Well, every time I do a summon, my odds of pulling another one are 0.167%. So as you can guess, I only have one.
Yep.
And I don't expect to have it level 30 anytime this millennia. Hopefully they do something about that, but it is way, way, way too rare. And
I'm actually more annoyed about the fact that it's not specific to Scarlet.
Yes, some of them, like the
can't even use it.
The Wrath Hammer feels like it should be Shao Kahn's.
Right, but I mean, the best part is the Blood of Eternus is a ranged user only, and she's not even ranged.
Yep, she can't even use it. And like the only go ahead.
Oh, sorry, you were mentioning stats earlier. What stats do we have in game?
We have a lot of stats, and one of the things I'm really happy to have on the site, and one of the things that they really need to address in the game, but one of the most important, yes, exactly, the stat definitions. I've had that info up on the Discord for a while, so there is no way in the game to see what any of these stats do. So like when you see initiative, a lot of people are like, initiative, the heck is initiative? What does that do? I don't know. How about tenacity? What does tenacity do? I have no idea. And there's no way to have the game show you or tell you what it does. You're just without that information. So I wrote into support and was like, you got to tell us what these stats do. And for some of them, we got really clear answers, including how they calculate. For others, we got more information than we had, but still not the numbers behind them. By the way, this did not stop other less scrupulous YouTubers from putting out videos saying, I'll tell you what all the stats do, and then lying their asses off.
Oh.
There are multiple videos online of just like someone being like, I'm gonna tell you today what all the stats do, and then they just lie like crazy and like, hope this helps. Now you guys got the good info. Good luck out there. It's like,
Right.
what are you doing to people? Don't be that guy. But anyway, so these are straight from support. Some of them are incomplete, but what really irks me is, so we have the stats, and I can go over any of them if you have any questions, but you can view them on the site, and you can see the list in the game by just hitting the stat thing. But so there's also all sorts of status effects, and we have zero information what the status effects do. So like you'll see a character like Scarlet. Yes, I can, Simon. Hello, and hello, Tabmock. Honored to have you.
Waiting for you to scratch your nose. There you are. Hey, Tabmock. Yeah. Welcome in. We were talking about you earlier.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, yeah.
But so the status effects, so like Scarlet has an ability that says apply an attack buff to characters nearby. Okay, well, obviously it's buffing their attack, but how much? We don't know. It doesn't say. It says an attack buff. And so you'll see things like applies a defense debuff, grants a critical rate buff. And then some of them, we just have no, I think Jade has one where it's like, she gains focus. The heck is focus? I have no idea. So there's a bunch of those that's just, you know, they should. And again, like I give them the benefit of the doubt that the game is basically in an alpha stage, but there should be in the actual combat icons over their head that you can click and hold that say, hey, here's what this buff is doing. Things like that. But so yeah, there's a lot of information we currently don't have. And there is a lot, I shouldn't say while it has not been officially stated, it is all but confirmed that in the most recent patch, they made significant changes to accuracy, dodge, and block. We know what those do. Blocks are for melee attacks, and it reduces a portion of the damage. Dodge are for ranged attacks, and if you successfully dodge, you take no damage from the attack. And then accuracy reduces the likelihood that the people you're attacking will dodge or block. And obviously raising your dodge and or your block increases the likelihood of those things happening. We don't know exactly how much you block or how much dodge you need to add to increase your likelihood to dodge by a certain amount. We don't know how those all interact with each other. Yeah. But what we do know is ever since the most recent patch, characters who we didn't have to put any accuracy on are now missing everything and just get dodged like crazy.
Interesting. But that makes no sense as well, considering you have gear pieces which have set bonuses on them too.
Why do you say that makes no sense?
Because, I mean, in the sense that, like, for example, let's just say you're picking a specific character. Let's talk Goro, for example. Sure. I personally would put either defense or HP on him rather than accuracy, etc., etc. And I would focus on specific stats because I would try to increase those stats so that they get that multiplicative bonus from those sets, which is why I say it makes no sense, because I wouldn't put accuracy unless they're a ranged character, for example. You know what I mean? Exactly.
Yeah, now accuracy is for both melee and ranged. Like in theory, if a character had really high block, you'd someone you're facing, you'd want really high accuracy to counter it. But they like, we didn't know how those numbers calculated before, and they obviously went in on the back end and changed how they calculate. We don't know what it was, but we know what it is now. And now you need so much more accuracy to land, like content that people were doing, they are struggling on now because their characters are getting blocked and dodged constantly.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, we know they changed it. We don't know how much because they still haven't told us how those numbers work. And I hope they do. Some games like consider that formula part of their like secret sauce, and they don't want to share it. I find that just absolutely ridiculous. Like that has nothing to do with the success of the game, and keeping your players uninformed about how things work is a less effective way of actually getting people excited or interested to unlock or purchase things. So
yeah, you'd think that they would explain that a bit more just so people have an idea of what they should be aiming for. We have a question. Is MK Onslaught beta on iOS yet? As Scraps, I don't know how to say your name, man. You're going to have to explain. But as you said, it's only on Android at the moment. Although, I mean, judging by the fact that it's a 2023 release date, I would assume that Apple is going to get access to it at some point soon. It wouldn't make sense to just keep it early access only for Android at this point in time.
I agree with you. It's more likely that iOS will also get some kind of a test flight or a beta, but I have seen games that are only available early on one platform prior to global
interesting.
launch. Excuse me. It's not unheard of. I agree with you. It's probably going to be available early on iOS before launch, but
yeah, it's usually easier.
You'd assume they want to test it on both just to make sure it works.
Yes, yeah. you would think. But I'm interested to know how much they're actually valuing our testing, because certain trends that have emerged, I think, tell a very clear story in some of the testing, and those things thus far have gone unaddressed. Something I was going to talk about related to Arena earlier, and the Kamidogu bug, where like they must have noticed the insane.
Bring it up now.
Sure. All right. Well, so let's. Where do you want to start with what I was going to say about Arena or the Kamidogu?
Yeah, go with Arena mode, then move into the whole Kamidogu bug, because I had no idea about this. And Scorps, got it. You are Scorps from now on. But have a good night. Thanks for joining us, man.
And I will talk about, because again, if you have an Android device right now and you are watching this stream, you can join in on the early access. And because all progress is kept, stay tuned till the end, and I will explain to you guys how you can jump into the game. Because if other people are getting to start earning stuff and keep it by the time global launch hits, you guys should have that freedom as well. So that's why I try to always be able to help.
Coins as Yanni, but you can still play.
I mean, I don't even want them.
maybe they'll sell all their Arena tokens. But so what I was gonna say is that this game is a very interesting Arena system that you don't see very often, in that most Arena systems like give a specific rank, like rank 1 gets this payout, rank 2 gets this payout, rank 3 gets this payout, and then they start clumping them, rank 6 through 10 gets this payout, and then top 50 get this payout, whatever. There's none of that. This game's Arena system is purely based on what tier you are in. And there's nothing stopping every single player in the game from all making it to the top tier. Like, they're not competing. Like, you are facing one another, but you can do your matches in a way where everyone rises to the top. Literally every single player in the game could claim the top rewards.
Yep.
So the current system strongly encourages collusion. Like, normally when you hear like, oh, people are colluding in Arena, like, oh, that's dirty because they're boxing other people out. They're working together and ganging up to knock one person out of the leaderboard and things like that. Normally colluding is unacceptable, and it's a bunch of despicable players being jerks. But in this game, if in the main game mode, which is supposed to be PvP, where like I try to beat you and you try to beat me, if we all come together and hold hands and sing Kumbaya, we can all climb to Master 1 and we can all enjoy really, really good crystal rewards. We have all the incentive in the world to just be the best of friends and not worry about actually beating each other. And part of this is because when you get a defense win, you get the full amount of points as though it were a victory on offense. But the person who loses only loses half as much. So, for example, in just below Master, I think it's gold. I might have these numbers slightly wrong, but I think in gold, if you were to attack my defense and you lost, I would gain 16 points, but you would only lose 8. So if I then turned around and lost to you, you would gain 16 points and I would only lose 8, and we would both be up 8 points. Yes. So if we made a pact and I said, I'm going to lose to you, anytime I see you, I'm going to look for you, I'm going to find you, I'm going to lose to you, which, by the way, if I lose to you, I don't have to look for new opponents. I can just challenge you again and again and again and again. So I can just say, it is now my life's mission to lose to you. And you can say, awesome, you know what? It's my life's mission to lose to you too, bro. And we will both have atrocious win rates, and we will both be rising up the leaderboards, gaining points each time, and high-fiving the whole way. We'll have awful win rates, and we'll get the top payout, and we're not even getting in anyone else's way. We're not like stealing the rank 1 spot from someone else that's not doing that, who's trying to earn it naturally. Like, we can just all be Master 1. So
interesting. Okay.
The current system has some obvious holes in it, but while we have a thriving Discord community of people who are pretty much all friends, people are like, if you come around the Discord close to the end of the season and you're like, I need like 100 points to hit this rank or I'm not going to get paid out, you'll see a bunch of people like, oh no, I'll lose to you. Where are you at?
Oh, that's really nice. I need to make sure I get in on that next time.
Everyone's just helping everyone else generate a bunch of currency, because why not? Because we can all share in the currency. So it's a very friendly environment. It's the exact opposite type of environment that you want for your competitive player versus player, but it's nice.
So, I mean, if anything, less toxicity is actually like something I wasn't expecting when it comes to just gaming in general. So that's a very, very
Mortal
thing.
Kombat community with like we talked
was it
about
number 2? Number 2?
Yeah, number 2.
Onslaught is doing more to reduce the toxicity than any other game in the MK universe.
And it's completely unintended.
So non-toxic in that it's like, all right, let's say you're the rank 1 player. I'm just a lowly Master 1. I'm rank 16, but you're the rank 1 player. Oh, we get the same payout. So more power to you. I hope you had fun. People saw your name. You don't get like a unique icon or avatar frame or anything. We just get the same payout. So you can be rank 1. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Sorry. Continue. I was gonna say we got a couple questions coming in through Twitter. So let me bring these up real quick so we can answer them. And
can I just address something right before you go with that?
Yeah.
I'm just looking at I'm gonna say Guesswee's comments about clearing the progress. It's already been mentioned that the progress should not be cleared according to support. But on top of that, I don't see why it should be cleared, because I mean, you're saying all multiplayer betas are cleared, etc., etc. I mean, in reality, it doesn't have to be. Secondly, as Khasino said, this is technically not a beta. This is early access. But then, again, on top of that, if you look at just a very recent release, Wolong just released, and they had a public beta, and anything that happened in that beta, that demo beta, continued on into the full game. So it's actually not unprecedented. And
no, not at all.
Yeah, so I think there's no need to actually clear everything, especially when people are putting in time and effort to actually test the game for them.
It's very standard. Now, I will say some do it in nicer ways than others. So like the Lord of the Rings Hero Collector that's currently in a closed beta, the way they're doing it is all progress will be reset, but anything that you spent money on during the closed beta will get returned to your account as currency, but you'll get 25% extra as a thank you for having spent that during it. So your money goes a little farther during the closed beta, but the progress is reset. I have mixed feelings. Like, on the one hand, in terms of fairness, like if you're just someone who has an iOS device, so you just can't get in the early access, like it's not fair to you. And the fact that you bought that device as your phone shouldn't mean that I have an advantage over you. It's not fair to you, and it's certainly no fault of your own. So in that regard, I do feel that it would make sense to have progress be reset. However, obviously that would be really, really disheartening to all the people that have been playing. And so the reason that I'm okay with there not being a progress reset in this specific type of game is because it is pay to win. So because you can use an external ability to alter your progress anyway, which is essentially, and it's not that you should have to, but if you just, found a bag with $10,000 in it under your bed tomorrow and decide, I'm going to put all this into the mobile game, you're going to be way, way ahead of me. And it's, shouldn't be fair that you can do that when I don't have $10,000 lying around to put into my mobile game. But so because they're going to give people the opportunity to progress in that way, it doesn't bother me as much that progress isn't being reset, because there's other ways to influence your progress that kind of affect that dynamic anyway.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Okay, so
sorry, Phantom, you had questions.
Yeah, so a couple questions. Usually we don't take the Twitter questions because they're hard to keep track of. So if you are watching and you want to participate, please join us on our chat on Twitch or Twitter. I almost said Twitter, Twitch or Facebook or YouTube, wherever. That way we can kind of keep track. But I did notice that we got a couple questions coming in. this one has been asked a lot already in our live chat, so I'm just gonna go ahead and address it on the stream so people know. This one comes in from Still Not Dan. When does Onslaught officially release?
2023.
That's all we know.
Yeah, what I can tack onto that, and so the first thing I'll say is I'm purely making an educated guess. I'm pulling it straight out of my imagination. Do not quote, like, don't take this for anything other than an educated guess. I both think and I hope that the game is like 5 to 6 months away from release, because of how unfinished it is. Like, I would be very, very shocked if this game like released in 2 months, unless they're on their servers. They have some version of this game that's so much more polished and filled out.
Mm-hmm. You know, I honestly think that it'll get released, which is this a piece of news I completely forgot to throw in there, but I honestly think this is going to get released around the time of Mortal Kombat 12, whenever that's going to be. And I mean, missed news opportunity. Mortal Kombat 12 did get officially announced.
How did we miss that? How did we miss that?
Yeah, I mean,
like, that's the biggest piece of news here, to be honest.
Yeah. So Mortal Kombat 12 was I guess leak announced during the fiscal year. Yeah.
Accidentally officially announced
on an earnings call by the CEO. Yeah.
Yep. So the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery actually announced it. So we are getting Mortal Kombat 12 this year.
Q4. They're aiming for an ambitious Q4 release.
Yep. And so that's all we know about that. But I think Onslaught might kind of line up with whatever they have planned for that release.
That would make sense, because MK Mobile was sort of in line with both MKX and MK11, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
You got Kronika's voice, for example, as a reward. I
was just gonna say, I have some other reasons why I suspect that this Onslaught release will be fairly closely lined up with the MK12 release, which we'll get into when we talk about leaked and unreleased characters.
Oh, okay.
But I'll simply say there are files for unreleased characters in the game that suggest, not confirm, but suggest that those characters will be getting MK12 models added in, and so it would make sense that they don't have the MK12 models currently in, as that would be a huge leak. But as it gets close to MK12 releasing, it would make sense to put those in. So,
and then another question we got on Twitter. From Farid MK.
I knew you were going to ask this, man. I knew you were going to ask this.
I mean, I think he tweets to us every day asking this question.
I'd like to take this moment to firstly say, because I know he's been asking to get Cassie in a Liverpool outfit. Firstly, congratulations on your 7-0 destruction of Manchester United. Great job with that, Arsenal fan here. Secondly, Khasino, any news on Cassie Cage?
Yes, Cassie Cage will be coming to Onslaught.
Oh,
at least. So let me back up. I'm not a developer. Anything can change, so I cannot, unfortunately, 100% confirm it for you. But Cassie Cage currently has files in the game, including her drone. Like the model and everything for her drone is already in the game, and she has a character folder in the files. So. Again, it's possible that the devs will decide, for whatever reason, it's buggy, it's not ready for release. Like, sometimes there's characters with files in the game and they get scrapped or they never end up getting released. But in terms of the likelihood of Cassie Cage being released as compared to other characters, I would rate her as highly, highly likely, being that she is technically already partially in the game files.
Interesting. I mean, I've made it no secret that I don't want the combat kids in there. So, but on the other hand, I'm very happy for Farid. So, fair play to you, man.
I don't know. My camera's out of focus there. Maybe that'll make it refocus. I don't know. I'm gonna recover. But anyway, it's got such good resolution on the palm of my hand.
Sorry, CS.
Oh, there we go. But so I not all the combat kids are my favorite characters per se. I do really like Cassie Cage, but I certainly don't love all of them. But one thing I really like about Hero Collectors is that it allows you to bring every single character from the franchise into one game and all interact with each other. So on principle, I say bring in the combat kids, even though I won't personally be that excited for most of them. Have them all so everyone is happy. For the people that are fans of those characters, I say bring them in.
Yeah, exactly. Fair enough. Just not Jackie. What?
Jackie disappoints me a bit. But
sorry. Oh yeah.
She disappoints me a bit. I don't mind if she gets released later into the game's release. I'm not losing sleep over her not being in here, but wouldn't be fair to leave her out. Bring everyone in. I want everyone in. I honestly, my most desired character is Mocap, and he's probably way down on the
list.
Yes.
I'd be very happy with Mocap. I'm not gonna lie, just for the memes, like that would be amazing. I remember spending so much time in Deception trying to find out if I could unlock him, because he was unlockable in Deadly Alliance, right? But in Deception, you could only just find him and kick him in the nuts, apparently.
So I've decided I want a full meme team. I want Meat. I want Mocap.
Yes.
There was one other troll character I forgot, and I want Kid Thunder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just want a whole meme team, and I want them to have a purpose.
Who's the last one? I'm very curious.
I can't remember. I wrote it down somewhere, and now it's slipping my mind.
Kotal Khan in a wheelchair.
who are the have been official MK characters, but were known as memes?
I mean,
in the game they're in.
Bo Raicho is technically, you could argue that
he is a meme,
but he's also a proper character in my opinion. So I'm not sure I'd go that far with him. Memes.
If you want to give me 30 seconds, I can search the Discord, and
you got 20.
All right, let's see. Okay. Yeah, this one's fair. That I forgot. So my dream meme team was Meat, Mocap, Kid Thunder, and Hornbuckle.
Yes.
Okay, if it made sense to debut Hornbuckle somewhere, it would be an Onslaught.
Who's the character that Phantom? We talked about him last time. He's the character that was in the MK9 tower. I always forget his name, but I love it whenever his name comes up.
Oh yeah, the
he was just
looking guy. I can't remember his name.
He's completely in completely in black. That was it.
Tabmock's in the chat. He can tell us.
Tabmock, who is it? Who am I thinking of? Mutu, isn't it Mutu? I think it is. Hold on.
Yeah, I think so.
No, it's not Mutu. What am I talking about? No, it's not. What am I thinking? Come on, Tabmock, you got me. You got me here.
He's not there.
I'm gonna find this. Now I got 20 seconds. You go for it.
Tabmock suggested Meat, and Tabmock doesn't realize on this channel Meat is Kotal Khan from an alternate universe. So
exactly, man. Come on. Yeah. It's so obvious.
You gotta get with the lore, Tabmock.
I'm trying to get this now. I need to find him. Rutu. I was so close. It's Rutu.
Yeah.
I'm getting a picture so you can pull that up.
Great, thank you.
I have no idea who you guys are talking about, so this will be the first time seeing this.
He was in the challenge tower, and he's a meme, straight up. Like, you want to add him to your list, trust me.
It's not even a character.
He's an evil character, and he appears in the challenge tower.
Oh my gosh. All right, hold on. I got it here. All right, so for everybody who wants to see who Yanni wants in...
Oh, yeah, he can join. He can join me.
No hesitation.
Yeah. He looks like the engineer from, Prometheus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can see that.
Bucket of oil, maybe.
Actually, he reminds me of... and it's funny, because he came up on Reddit, on the MK subreddit earlier. He reminds me of Noob Saibot from Mortal Kombat Conquest.
Oh, Conquest, yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Gimp Noob Saibot.
That's exactly.
I'm bringing that up for you too.
I'll fit nicely alongside Meat and Mocap. And either Hornbuckle or Kid Thunder.
Yeah, I think that's a solid list, to be honest. Here you are. And Tim.
Tabmock says he knows the Meat Kotal theory.
It's not a theory. It's been proven. You got a picture there, Fanta?
Okay, here's Noob Saibot from Mortal Kombat Conquest.
Oh no! I watched that when I was younger. I don't remember this.
Oh yes, you mean oh yes. Trust me.
I mean, I will say, if you're trying to break into cosplaying, that is a great entry level cosplay that you can do.
All of you who don't know who he is or have not seen this before, you need to watch MK Conquest. Not because it's funny in a bad way. It's good in a good bad way, like in an amazing way as well. It's actually such a good show. Straight up. I highly recommend it. Especially for Gimp Noob Saibot.
And it's on HBO Max if you have it.
I don't know if you're recommending it because you're like, there are some golden nuggets in it, or if you're trying to pitch it as like a so bad it's good.
Both. It's so good that like it's that old school cheesiness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's actually a good show.
Princess, things like that. Oh, and if anybody's interested, we do have interviews up with Kast from Mortal Kombat Conquest and the writer Sean Catherine Derrick, which some awesome insights to the show. But yeah, I definitely recommend the show. And not even just for nostalgia factor. Like it's just
actually a good show.
Yeah, it's cool to expand on the lore and things like that.
Very interesting show. Highly recommend it. Not just there are moments where it's going to be extremely cheesy, of course, and so bad it's good moments. But it's really a well-written show. We go through it in great detail with like for past cast members. We go through it with the writer Sean Catherine Derrick. We've gone through it with Larry Kasanoff, producer. It's a very good show. Highly recommend it to everybody. And Tabmock, I see your comment, and I agree. We need the entire meme team. I love it.
Yep. Well, so we just need if the community keeps asking for it. The thing about mobile games is you kind of get to vote with your wallet. So if all the people who get together on the subreddit or wherever the devs are taking feedback and they're all demanding it and saying, put this out, we will buy it, give it to us. Eventually they'll go, all right, if that's what you guys want to buy, we can code it. So
Gimp Noob Saibot. Gimp Noob Saibot. To try and get us root to, but I'll try and get us back on topic a little bit. There was a couple of things I wanted to bring up. Phantom, you should have a list, a link rather, to the tier lists on Khasino's website for the characters and the relics.
Before we get off relics, do we want to talk about the Kamidogu bug?
I figured we could bring that in with the relic meta discussion, actually.
By all means, sure.
Yeah, cool. So let's start off with the characters, if you don't mind, Phantom.
Okay.
So with all games, you're going to have, all games like this, really, you're going to have a sort of meta. And, well, Khasino, I keep saying your website. I'm sure it's you and other content creators, or is it just you?
It's me and Krasy. So Krasy does all the coding, and then I'm all the art, and I did all the renders for all the character models and stuff.
Good. I'm glad I asked that. I want to make sure you both get your credit. So here's the tier list according to you guys. And one thing that I really like about this list is it's not just a set sort of, this is the way it's done. You've also got characters who have like a +1 next to them. And that's very interesting to me because the way this works is, I mean, it speaks for itself in terms of God Elite usable trash, but then each character goes up a tier based on synergy, whether it be with other characters or with specific relics, as far as I understand. Is that correct?
I believe in this instance, it's just referring to with the right teammates. We are assuming that you have the best relic for the character, but basically when we say synergy, it could mean that, for example, any special forces character on here, with very, very few exceptions, has a +1 because you could run them on a team with 2 Sonyas who would both give them a ton of ult meter and allow them to basically keep using their ultimate. So it's not their own relic, but it is the right synergy, which can include relics of the other characters or just the right teammates.
Well, let's address Noob Saibot, actually, because I find his synergy pretty interesting. He is, well, I mean, he was actually my most wanted character, and he was the last character I got. Well, the most wanted along with Scarlet, but he was the last character I finally managed to get. And I immediately bumped him up to a +5, I think. And what's interesting is his passive. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm not sure specifically what you want to get into about his passive. Got split into 2. He has 2 passives now. But so this tier list, you'll notice this is updated for patch 0.1.2. And so Noob Saibot, unfortunately, due to no fault of his own, was the recipient of I'm trying to describe this in the right way. A nerf that is the result of one of his teammates getting heavily nerfed. 0.1.5 absolutely crippled Quan Chi. And because of how much worse Quan Chi is, Noob Saibot's stock went down a bit. So there's a player who, for most of the time that the game's been in early access, this player has been rank 1. And it is both because he's always run Quan Chi and Noob Saibot, and also because he's been benefiting from the Kamidogu bug, and that he was one of the first people ever to pull 2 Kamidogus and use them both.
Wow.
Yeah, which is super, super toxic to face. It's really annoying. But so Noob Saibot is the only character who, with every patch, has gotten a little worse and a little worse and a little worse. They just keep tweaking him and they keep taking him down a peg. And he's still pretty good on his own, but with this most recent patch, not only did they take him down a little bit, but they crushed Quan Chi, and that really hurt his stock as a character. Not to mention, with this most recent patch, they completely reassigned every single character's initiative. Every single character's initiative stat changed.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
In an effort to bring Razor Hat Kung Lao up to the standard of the other 5 stars, he's now the fastest character in the game. Goro is now the 2nd fastest, and Scarlet is the 3rd fastest.
Oh, all right.
Attackers in general got much faster. So
do you have an updated tier list on the way?
Yes, we already have the spreadsheet done, so you can view it, and it didn't change all that much. Like, a few people's +1s got removed. That's about it. No one actually changed ranking, I believe. Mm-hmm. Maybe one person actually like changed a tier somewhere. But it was pretty minor, but it really changed. So this relic list really changed. I don't know if we have the newest one of these out yet. But like, you'll notice that Kirahashi blade is the #1 recommendation on Scorpion, and it's nowhere to be found on Razor Hat Kung Lao. And the Kirahashi blade gives you a large percentage of attack every time you win initiative, which is when 2 characters clash. If you attack first, whoever has the higher initiative stat attacks first, and if you are the character that attacks first in the clash, you won the initiative. And Kirahashi blade rewards you for each time that happens by giving you a ton of attack. Well, Scorpion is now much slower in the scheme of the overall characters, and Razor Hat Kung Lao in the previous patch, what you're seeing here, was so slow that we couldn't justify giving him the Kirahashi blade because he lost initiative to almost everyone, so he didn't get to stack any of the attack. Now he's the fastest character in the game. He is the #1 priority. If you have a Kirahashi blade, you gotta put it on him because he wins all initiative now, and he gets a tremendous amount of attack from it. So I'm
very happy right here now because I don't know if you can see that.
Oh yeah. He makes great use of it.
All right, interesting.
There were
for those of our viewers who don't know, who haven't played Onslaught yet, if you want to move relics around, you do have to pay for that. But if you
not cash, in-game coins.
In gold, yeah, in-game gold.
Coins
with mobile games. That was
So what about this Kamidogu relic then? You've been teasing us with this. Tell us what's this whole glitch?
Oh, it's just infuriating. So the way the Kamidogu works is whichever, it can only go on a support, and if you equip it on a support, that support just starts the match at half health. And if they're a healer, they can heal it back up to full, but you can immediately spot if someone's using a Kamidogu. You can obviously check out their team before you go into the match, but if you just load in, as soon as you see someone like, oh, we just started, why is that guy at half health? He has a Kamidogu on, that's why.
Okay.
And what the Kamidogu does is the first character, it doesn't work on the character who has it, but it works on any other character. As soon as someone dies, the Kamidogu revives them. A portal opens up and they jump back out from the portal, back alive.
Okay.
And depending on how good the Kamidogu is, it restores them with a certain amount of health, so they can come back with 30-40% HP, something like that. And that in and of itself is pretty good. And there's some good combos with that. Like I think it's the Wrath Hammer that says if you're revived, then upon reviving you have full special meter. So some people are running a combo where they have their Goro out in front with a Wrath Hammer, and he was a sacrificial lamb, like, haha, kill my Goro, and then Kamidogo immediately flung him back out onto the field, and he just ulted right away and melted everyone. So there were some valid ways to use the Kamidogo, and in it on its own, it's not a bad item. But the bug comes in where if someone is in the process of being revived, like they just died, the portal has opened, and then the person who has the Kamidogo on them dies, the person who jumps out of the portal will jump back out of the portal and re-enter the match, but they won't have their health assigned. So they'll just have no health bar. So they'll just fight you forever. Your characters can't even target them. Like, your characters won't acknowledge that they're on the field.
So this is why sometimes in a fight, all the characters just stand there and I lose because the time runs out.
Yes. That's Kamidogo. There's two different ways they can present. The first way they can present is they never even jumped out of the portal, but the game is still like, that guy's not dead. So it's just your 4 guys standing around, just looking at each other like, what do we do now? And then they just sit there until time runs out, and then you lose, which is really annoying. Or the character does jump back out of the portal, but still the Kamidogo holder dies, and then that person's on the field, but your guys won't target him. So there's just like an enemy Goro just standing there, and your whole team's like, whoa, we don't see nothing. He's right there. Nah, I don't see anything.
Wow.
We're just going to take it out here. Very, very frustrating. So when
that's still going.
Oh, yeah. It's been going from day one. And it's why, for the longest time, the couple of people at the very top of the leaderboard were just people who had 2 Kamidogus, because you have some control over what your characters are doing and when, but you can't always control who they attack and what has splash damage. So sometimes just you accidentally kill the Kamidogu holder at the wrong time, and that's it. If you do that by mistake, you lose.
So in terms of defense, this is the best item to have, but in terms of attack, you have to play properly.
You have to play very careful, and even then you can't perfectly avoid it. Like, the strategy most people employ these days against people with double Kamidogu is, I just don't fight them. I don't like my odds.
Fair enough.
I have 1 Kamidogu on my defense, and it skyrocketed my defense rate just because it's a 1 item win condition. It's a hugely annoying bug, and I hope it's one of the absolute. There's 2 major bugs they need to fix. There's that one, and one that's an even bigger problem, which I'm sure you've run into, which is the portrait bug, which is if an enemy is located somewhere on the field behind your portrait, you can't target them, because it thinks that you're just dragging the ability back to the portrait.
Oh yeah, that drives me nuts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like you'll notice a lot of the top players have Shang Tsung in the bottom corner, because he's going to be behind someone's portrait, and if he's behind the right character's portrait, you can't ult him and kill him. So there's a strategy to sticking Shang Tsung in the bottom right where you can't hit him because of the portrait bug. So
yeah,
a lot of the tactics right now are how to play around the bugs most effectively, which is pretty interesting.
Wow. When that happens, I just either target somebody else, or I just have to let it do an auto targeting. And
throwing it on auto and hoping it hits the right person. But
right.
I got your message. So there's a couple things. I saw what you wrote. But I imagine at some point we wanted to talk about leaks or unreleased characters.
Yes,
and then also how people can get into the game. So how do you want to do that?
Yeah, let's talk about the leaks before we go into how to play, because
what have we got on the way?
Yeah.
Sure. So let me see real quick if I still have the drive. So I actually hid them on the site. So let me start by saying you can see the first 4 of them if you go to the site. There's more, but you can see the first 4 of them if you go to the site, and then you go to the character page, and then you filter by playable. Let's see if it'll be in
I've got
here, it. Yeah, so you can filter by the non-playable, and you'll see 4. So let's start with those 4. So all I'm seeing on the stream is the graphic.
Yeah, let me.
But feel free. You can just show people this, of course. But what I was saying as far as hid them on the site is, so when you land on the home page, it shows you a random character. Because I rendered out the models of all these characters that are just in the files but completely unannounced and everything, I had Krasy code in a 1 in 1,000 chance to just show you one of the hidden characters on the homepage.
Yes, I've seen that. That's awesome. I actually got I got Hellfire Scorpion I think, when I was on it.
Well, so he's not one of the hidden ones. He is one of the non-playable. So you'll see there's 4 here.
Oh, okay. So he does show up then. Gotcha. Okay.
He shows up normally. So there's 4 here. There's Arctica Sub-Zero. And you might just want to open these on their own tabs.
I gotta say that the little render portrait icon that you've got is extremely high quality.
So to the devs' credit, those are from the game files. The models I rendered, but the portraits, there is a single portrait that the devs did not make. In the game files, it just shows as like a missing asset. So I actually made one portrait, like literally hand painted it in Photoshop, and I think I did such a good job that no one will be able to tell which one it is unless they know.
Is it one of these?
It is like one of the unplayable ones. It is.
I'm gonna call Fire God Liu Kang.
It's not one of the 4, and actually. That one, I know you didn't mean it this way, but that one is the most insulting to me because the devs did that one and they forgot. I don't know if they forgot or for whatever reason they just didn't include his hair.
See, this is why I said that, because I thought that maybe you were only able to get his head like that because of what you had available.
His hair files are not in the game, so I just grabbed and recolored the other Liu Kang's hair. But he has the thing for the top knot, so the hairstyle you're used to Fire God Liu Kang having is what he will have in the game.
Gotcha.
It just doesn't exist in the game currently, so I am hair. But that's the dev's portrait. I don't know why they rendered a portrait of him without hair, but they did. so that's it.
Okay.
But yeah. So there's Fire God Liu Kang. There's Arctica Sub-Zero. And then there's a couple others. There's Revenant Katana. Yeah, I'm sorry you have to keep doing this every time. I think there's a...
Open them in new tabs if you can, Phantom.
Yeah.
Right click.
Yeah, let me...
I think you can just middle mouse button click them.
I was going to say control click. That should work. Yep, control clicking works.
But so there's Revenant Katana and Hellfire Scorpion are the other 4 here. And by the way, the portrait that I made, you want to take a guess? It's not one of those 4.
Portrait that you made. Hold on.
You are seeing it on the screen. It was one of the non-playable. It just wasn't one of those 4.
Banner Grunt to Cotton Warrior?
That is the one.
That is?
That is the one. He doesn't have one, so I had to do the best I could to improvise one.
Honestly, that was just a guess based on the fact that I think I can see a bit of like edge on her left jaw, or rather her right jaw, but I think that's it.
Noted. Yeah, I was pleased. I think I did a pretty good job.
Honestly, I had to look deep for that. Like, so don't worry, it's pretty good.
If you don't know, you won't find it. But so there's those 4. And the reason that I have those 4 like not considered hidden is because they have portraits that the devs rendered. All the other unreleased characters do not have portraits. I had to like put their models together based on the game files.
Okay.
So we've got those 4. So I was just looking to see where. So I'm gonna just throw them in Discord, and then can you show them that way? That's the easiest way.
Yeah.
I'll just sure. All right, let me grab them here. I have them all in their own little folder. So just give me a sec.
Archer Lin Kuei's outfit is so good.
Yeah.
I really
Fun fact
like that.
about Archer Lin Kuei, just using Scorpion's face. You can't see it because it's hidden, but I had to put that model together. It's just Scorpion's face.
I think I can tell from the eyebrows, actually, now that you mention it.
Those iconic Scorpion eyebrows.
Not as iconic as Ed Boon's.
Hey! As somebody with bushy eyebrows, I hold them in high regard, okay?
That's the only reason Yanni like.
So I know some of these are not spoilers to you guys because I sent you the renders I made for use in the promotional stuff.
Oh yeah.
I did not send you all of them.
I have been so busy that these will be completely new to me. So bring them on.
All right, they are in the Discord chat. That we
I did see this one. All right, yeah, this one I'm excited for. I am very excited for Cyrax. Yep. I think he looks amazing. This is what we should have had in MK11. It's pretty much his MK11 look, is it not?
Yeah.
I believe it is. Yeah.
That looks so good. Any idea as to his abilities?
No, they don't have any information. In fact, of all the unreleased characters, there's only one that we get any hints about his abilities, and that's Hellfire Scorpion. We have some hints to his abilities.
Okay.
But Kotal Khan looks really cool. And then, so we do know the variant names for the ones. So that's a Kotal Khan variant called Maquahuitl Kotal Khan.
Oh,
Okay.
that's cool.
Which is the name of that giant sword thing that he's holding. That is Melina.
Melina
Should've
looking
saved her
good.
for
She's in. We were being asked about, who was it? Was it Melina or Kitana we were being asked about last time? Regardless.
So that is a
We got two.
Melina variant called Venomous Melina.
Mm-hmm. Interesting that they call
I
her
like-
Venomous.
Yeah, I found that interesting too, but that was in the files. Nightwolf.
Looking good. Looking very good.
Yeah,
He was
very
great in
good,
MK11. He was so good in MK11. I really liked him. First time I've properly mained him since like Deception. She looks great.
Sindel, of course.
Is that Sindel or Twindel?
I mean, the eyes make her Twindel. I gotta say. You remember that whole Souls? Not the way I almost called it Soul Stream. The Combat Cast, where they were saying she looks evil, so she has to be evil, but then her eyes were changed to normal.
Oh yeah, right.
I was like, what? You just went against your own point. Anyway, I see that we have Shinnok, who is looking very
Pasty.
his shoulders and no, it's
Yeah.
it's his neck. There's no neck.
Yeah, I
So-
think that's what it is.
So what I will say is, and like that is the proportions of his model. Like I didn't do that, but the
Yeah.
way all the models are done is every character's head is separate from their body
Hmm.
because every character can get decapitated. Like there's already a decapitation fatality in the game at Sub-Zero.
Okay.
So everyone's head has
That's
to be able
cool.
to come off. So when I look at this Shinnok's head, it looks like they reused the like Shinnok severed head from MK11 because it looks like ghoulish.
I
and
can
white.
see that, but I have a better theory.
Okay.
One Chi's in the game, and we don't know what his fatality is yet. I'm calling neck stretch, and that's why his neck is so short.
You never know. I do want to know, by the way, just before people read too much into this for lore reasons, that Shinnok's amulet is actually a big thing, like a prop from one of the stages, and I just stuck it in his hand. So there's-
okay.
yeah, there's no reason to believe he'll actually be walking around with his amulet. I don't know, but
I
was
mean,
just
if
like,
he
it'd be
was
cool if
walking
he
around with the amulet, it'd be a bit too strong, I think.
I just
Like,
thought it'd be
that's
cool
a
if
10
Shinnok
star.
was holding his amulet, and I'm making this, so I'm putting it in his hand.
Hey, it's
That's-
cool. I like it.
I'm glad you explained that because
It's not actually like part of his character model or anything.
I
Yeah.
couldn't tell that you added it, by the way. Good job with that. But
Thank you.
like we're saying, that would make him a 10-star character
So-
if it was actually his amulet.
Some of them do have little props. Like Razorhat Kung Lao has this like little gold dragon medallion on his waist. I don't know what that's for, but that's part of him. And like Shang Tsung has his little like soul flask thing on his hip, which
That's cool.
that actually detaches and is like doing stuff in the game as part of an animation. So some of them have like a little prop item, but
It's the MK11 gear, basically.
I think so.
Mm.
all right. So should we talk early access real quick?
Yeah, probably should touch on that.
That's why
Oh,
everybody's here.
what? Well, so is
Oh,
we're
it's not signed in, so that's why.
well, even so, it's interesting that it says that.
I actually noticed this the other day. I think that it might be available now in more places than it was before.
I
I
don't know.
don't think so, but I can't say. So, it's only 5K plus downloads, so probably not. For that few downloads, I don't think so.
Oh no, I
but-
just checked now. App isn't available, and this is on a UK.
So as of right
Count.
now, for people wondering, like, what's the status of the game? How do we get in? Where's it available? So it is currently in what's called a restricted early access. So the first thing is it is only available in a single region, and that is the Philippines. Don't worry, you don't have to actually live in the Philippines. You can still play. Like, I don't live in the Philippines, and I play. But officially, it's only available in the Philippines. It is only available on the Android platform. And as of 0.1.5's hotfix, you cannot use an Android emulator anymore. So you have to play on a mobile device. And then the reason I say it's restricted is even if you are on an Android device in the Philippines, if you go to the app's page in the Play Store, it will say the early access is currently full. Please check back later to see if more spots become available. So not only is it one platform, one country, it's also restricted. They're just not letting more people in. But The good news is, again, as long as you have an Android device, we can get you in. So it's a bit of a long process, but well, it's not that long, but it's a little bit longer than probably makes sense to go through all the steps here. But if you go to discord.gg/MKOnslaught, which I'm sure these guys will have a link to, and if you just search Mortal Kombat Onslaught, as far as I know, it's like the only Mortal Kombat Onslaught Discord. But yeah, if you go there, we have a channel called Latest APK, and there's a tutorial that I wrote out myself. You can follow in there, and that will help you get the app on your device. However, even if you perfectly follow all of the steps in that channel, you will get a message when you're done installing that says you are running an unlicensed version of the app. You must download the app from the store, and it won't let you proceed. Like, as soon as you boot it up, you'll get that error message and you'll be stuck. And do not fret, that means you've done everything in the tutorial correct. And then there is another step required after that. I don't want to get too much into the specifics because it's how we are working around a check that they have implemented to stop so many people from accessing the game early. But as I've said, as long as we're getting to keep the stuff that we're currently earning, I don't want to deny anyone the opportunity to start earning it themselves as well. So you will have to contact me or one of the other people on the Discord for us to give you the final bit of info you will need for the final step. And one of us is always around, and I try to respond like right away. And the reason that this is not in the tutorial, just written out where everyone can access it, is because it involves a resource that one of us is going to give you that we have. The resource is unique to not each person that we give it to, but to chunks of people. And it would be very detrimental to how people are currently accessing the game if we just put it there for everyone to use. It would make it very easy to keep people out of the game if we did that. So we have to keep it a little bit behind closed doors. But again, anyone who asks me, we will give them one. It's just important that people don't know exactly how many that we're handing out, so to speak. So I hope I'm not being too vague about this, but it's pretty simple. Go to the Discord, follow the tutorial, and then just send me or a couple of the other people whose names are in the tutorial channel on the Discord, and we'll send you the final resource, which for the protection of everyone, we can't just have sitting right there in the channel, but we'll get it to you right away. No further stipulations. Just message us, we'll send it to you, and you'll get in game right away.
So just to be clear, if you want to attempt to get early access to the game, ping Khasino on Discord, and we'll leave you guys a way to get into that Discord chat room. Me and Yanni cannot help you with that, but Khasino and his team can. So it is playable and it is available, but only for early access and only for the people who can get in. So yeah, it is out there, and that's the thing.
Yep, and it's not illegal. It's not a hacked version of the game. It is the official version of the app from the Play Store, which is currently out. You know, there are people in the Philippines who just entered in through the early access. You're entering in the same way.
And the reason that Khasino's making that clear is because there was like a leaked APK that was going around, and a lot of people downloaded that, and they completely shut that down. So only way you can play right now is if you are early access to the game.
That's only kind of true. So it's in a sense, any APK that you find online that's not like you're not literally hitting download from the Play Store is technically a leaked APK. But the leaked APK that hit online was just the APK from the Play Store. It's just if you are not in the Philippines Play Store, you don't see the option to hit download. So someone just went, well, then you can download it from this website instead. But it was never like a leaked APK in the sense that like it got out. Like it's the version of the app they put out. It was just a way to access it.
Before we end, I'm actually I want to address this. I'm very interested in why it was just the Philippines that they released it in. That's a very interesting decision. Do you have any insight into that?
Absolutely, I do. So it is not uncommon at all. So almost all apps do some form of what's called a soft launch, where they roll it out in a few smaller markets. And the reason they roll it out in these smaller markets is that they can make really aggressive changes that don't infuriate large swaths of the player base. You know, like if they just decide tomorrow, like, oh, this resource, we're going to make it 10 times harder to get. They're testing on a very small amount of people rather than making a dramatic change like that. And they're targeting markets that closely mimic the US. So it's very common to see soft launches in the Philippines, in New Zealand, in Australia, sometimes Canada. But one thing that kind of all those markets have in common is they mimic the larger markets like the United States.
It's just, to me, it's so interesting because, I mean, you're saying it's going to be a smaller amount of people playing it, and that technically that would be correct with the Philippines. I mean, just pulling up the population here from last year, 114 million pretty much, in comparison to New Zealand, 5.123 million. It's such an interesting choice of location, especially when usually these sort of things, you'd expect them to sort of expand over time rather than just being in one isolated territory.
Well, yeah, no, again, I'm sure they will. It's very common that they will eventually expand this soft launch. So right now it's only in the Philippines, but I can absolutely foresee them making an announcement like, we've now added Australia and New Zealand to our soft launch. But there's something about the Philippines where it's I don't know the exact story, but it's something to do with like a lot of people there play mobile games. A lot of people there have compatible devices that are Android or iPhone, like very similar to the US phone models in a lot of instances. But there's, as I understand it, there's a lot about the Philippines that essentially mimics a US release, but on a much smaller scale.
That makes sense.
So the Philippines is always one of the go-to soft launch regions. It's Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia. You almost always see as like one of the first zones.
Interesting.
So, Khasino, last question, I guess, before we kind of go into our outros here. If for all the current players, would you suggest saving up currency or going after new characters and upgrading your characters?
So this is always the thing everyone wants to know, and I always get put in a difficult position, which is that all I can do is give you my best educated guess, and I'm always at the mercy of the devs turning around and introducing something with the next patch where everyone then looks at me and goes, why did we listen to you? So I would say go somewhere in the middle, which is characters that you will use for one of the game modes. I would not feel like, oh, I'm using this on like a character I'm just going to use for boss tower when I can hold on to these users. Like I am going ahead and upgrading those characters, but it also makes sense to hoard a certain amount of resources, so don't power up your entire roster. That Tarkatan minion, probably you might as well hang on to the resources rather than invest in him. He serves no real purpose. So I don't know what they have planned. You can kind of hedge your bets, but at the current rate of progress we've seen, it seems to me that anything that you invest, you'll be able to recoup before long, and currently that's greatly outpacing the rate at which they're putting new stuff in. So feel comfortable going ahead and investing, but without knowing what they're going to do, I can't give you an official right or wrong answer. But I mean, look at it this way. It's only been a few months. So like, let's say you blew all your resources tomorrow. Like, all right, so you're a few months behind in terms of how quickly you can generate those resources. But there's always,
because it's still free.
someone always gets the last laugh. You know, you'll have one player who's hoarding everything. They've been hoarding for 3 months now. They have so many crystals and so much gold, and then the new character drops, and then they go, ha ha ha, I was right to hoard all this stuff. I got them ready max level day one. You all wish you were me. And then the very next patch after everyone was like, oh yeah, we should all be hoarding, and then they introduce some new content where it's like, if you already had these characters powered up, you're ready to go, and then those people get the last laugh, and ha ha ha, we had these characters already invested in, we're way ahead of you, you're now scrambling to go back and take up those characters. So.
Well, I mean, for all we know, I could get completely screwed over again with my currency.
What happened to you? I have clear advice on. Don't trade in your coins for tokens, or your tokens for coins. don't let the devs scam you.
Devs, I'm mad at you.
Now, even when they can't take your money, they're still finding ways to scam you out of currency. They're just practicing. They're practicing.
Well, I mean, you did mention earlier, and I'm not sure if you addressed this while we were going through the characters, the unreleased characters. You said that there was a render or something or a character who might be hinting at MK12. Did you talk about this?
Yeah, we didn't talk about this in the leaks. So there are some characters who have now we're really getting into the weeds, but if you want this is good to end on maximum hype. So in addition to the actual models and textures, which is the easiest thing for me to show someone, there were 3 other interesting files that we found. One is just a list of characters, just the character name, and the purpose of this particular file basically tells the game, like, if you read this in the code, this is the name you display on the screen or in the text. And so that had some more names. For example, Reptile, Tanya, Cyber Smoke. Yeah, there's some good ones in there. In fact,
any human smoke or just cyber?
All it said was Cyber Smoke, but just because they're not in yet, I expect this game will eventually get everyone. But give me a half a second. I'm pulling up. I have here. I sent, because I did a video on all these leaks with Star and Sky, which you can see on my channel if you forget, because we're kind of going through
yes
here. But just give me a sec. I have the list of stuff. Oh no, I put it in a folder for him. Well, I sent it to True Underdog. So let me find it there. Hold on. But there were a few interesting files. That was one of them. So let me just scroll here, find these, make sure I'm not leaving out anyone. Going. But then I can tell you what the other 2 files were. There was a list of variant names, and what made that one confusing is the list of variant names. Oh, good, I found them. So the list of variant names, I'll put these in the Discord for you guys so you guys can see everything, and we'll end on a very hype note. So I'll go through them in order. Is that everything? Let's see. That's the character name. That's more character name. That's the relic list. And is the variant name in here? Variant name. Where's the variant name? I know I sent this to him. Oh well. Yeah. Oh well. All right. Let me get these to you real quick.
Cool.
Okay.
Putting these in the Discord, but they're not this chat. This chat. 3 interesting files. So the one I just sent you, that's relic stuff. We'll get to that one third, because that one's the most like far off. Here is the character names though. So you'll notice there's some goofy stuff in the character names. Yeah, I wouldn't, like, at the very top of that, I wouldn't interpret too much from that.
Can we pull this up?
Yeah,
or should we...
absolutely. Yeah, go for it. There's some goofy stuff. So there's like, it says like Catwoman, and then a description for her like cat burglar and whip enthusiast. But then there's just basket name, Easter basket, holds many things, eggs, swords, or the bodies. Like, there's just a lot of troll stuff. I have the Easter rabbit here. But I think those are literally just
red
like
herrings.
Placeholder trolling around.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought they were showing like, all right, this is how this is going to be formatted. But so the interesting ones from this were Ermac has a character name in there. Who else was unannounced?
Cassie.
I might have
Cassie Cage.
Cassie Cage in there. Why am I? Yeah, here it is.
I find it interesting that they spelled Melina incorrectly twice.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing.
M-E-L.
Shinnok, we talked about. So yeah, there's Cyber Smoke. Oh, Cyber Sub-Zero is in there. Cyber Sub-Zero.
Maybe I'm looking at the wrong one. Hold on. Yep, I am looking at the wrong one.
So there's Cyber Sub-Zero. There was Cyrax we talked about. Kotalkon, Melina, Nightwolf we talked about. Sindel we talked about. Tanya is in there. Excuse me. There's one that just says Undead. Cyber Lin Kuei and Black Dragon Male and Black Dragon Female. Excuse me. Are possibly some minions that are never going to see the light of day. Who knows? And then there was Reptile.
Ninja Spirit.
So what I'll show you a few other interesting images here that I have in this chat related to that, and then we'll move on, because I think the really juicy stuff was actually in the variant list. But so here's an example of this, and I think I have one more shot from these. Yeah, sure. So this is actually related to MK12 leaks, which is the video that True Underdog made here. But so some of the unreleased characters have more information than others in the game. So if you access what there is for Tanya, she doesn't have a model, but she has some other information.
120.
And so the leading theory is that the reason Tanya doesn't have a model when they could just give her the MKX model is they are working on her MK12 model. And when it's done, that's the model that she will have, because every character's model in this game is a decent quality model.
This is something I kind of wanted to mention with Cyber Smoke, actually, because with Cyrax, we have an MK11 look for him. But for Cyber... Oh, there you go. You brought him up. Exactly, yeah. So, very interesting. Yeah. Which means that, oh man, we're not getting Human Smoke. No.
Well, again, not necessarily.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe not an MK12. I don't know, but again, I'm optimistic that every version of the characters will make it into this game. And
I was hoping for MK12 though, Human Smoke. So this is almost crushing my dreams. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong.
No problem. So that was the first thing we found that like had some more juicy leaks pointing to some unreleased characters. The next thing I found was the variant list. And so we explained how variants worked earlier. And so for the most part, the variants didn't outright point to so the variant list doesn't say who they go to. It just says the variant name. So some of them were very obvious. Like one was A-lister, which is like, obviously that's a Johnny Cage variant, right? It doesn't make sense for A-list to be anyone else. It's not gonna be A-list Liu Kang. It's gonna be A-list Johnny Cage. So there were a few of them like that. Banshee Queen. It's like, okay, it's obviously Sindel. There were a few that were like, who is this? Who could this be? Which were not pinned down. But that variant list revealed a lot of variants that are have at least been thought out to some degree or concepted. So like Wind God Fujin is one that was on there, getting people pretty hyped. So
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
So let me see. For some reason, I'm not finding the image of that one, and I don't want to take the time to dig through the files now, but I'm just going to quickly glance at the roster and see if any of them stick out as like, oh, I remember the name of that variant as like being particularly interesting. A lot of them we already know about, like Fire God, Liu Kang, and whatnot. I think there was a Storm God Raiden, I think was the name. It just said Storm God, but we were like, who else is that going to be? But there were some interesting ones. We cover it in the video. Check that out. And then on the real fringe of like, maybe this is a clue to a character coming to the game. But this one, of all the leaks we've talked about so far, this is the one to take with the most grain of salt. We found a list of relics in the game, both currently existing relics and relics that are not yet in the game. And so what's interesting about them is there's no way to tell just from the names of the relics who, like, if the relics are just a general purpose relic or a relic for one individual. So like as we showed earlier, the Wrath Hammer is in the game, but anyone can use the Wrath Hammer. So it's that Wrath Hammer just being available to, well, here's an even better one. There's Dramon's Mask.
Yes,
you could see Dramon's Mask, like, that's obviously Dramon's fatality relic. Like Dramon's coming to the game confirmed. But Dramon is not in the game, and we at this time have no reason to believe Dramon will come to the game, other than my belief that eventually every character will come to the game. But Dramon's Mask is not in the game to be used by Dramon, it's in the game to be used by any tank. So some of these relics, any of them could just be, that could be for anyone. But it could also be the fatality relic for that specific character. So that could be to, as you're seeing here, Mask of Chameleon.
I have a feeling that's either Chameleon herself or it's going to be Reptile's item, most likely.
Oh, I hope not. Don't say that.
I don't think it would be Reptile's, but I
say this, but then we look at, for example, I mean, I fully agree with what you're saying, but just the Kirihashi blade itself, technically you would assume that would just go straight to Reptile.
That should be Reptile's.
Yeah.
So the fact that that's not is like, I don't know.
And even the Datusha, almost the Datusha should go to Ashra, right? But
yes, exactly. Which a lot of people, good on you for knowing that. A lot of people, I had to look it up. A lot of people are like, "Where is this thing even from?" I never even heard of it, and then I googled it, and I was like, "Oh,
I love the lore, man. I love the lore.
You're on it. You are on it." But so there's a few more interesting ones there. Like Spirit Bear, like that's got to be Nightwolf's unique.
Yeah, but then you got Moroi Crystal, and you'd assume that would be Nitara.
Exactly. So we could. I don't want to read too much into these, but Naknadon Satchel says collector to me. Bo Raicho's Flask says Bo Raicho to me.
How'd you figure that one out?
Yeah, I really I lost some sleep over that one. Jury's still out on Onaga's pendant. That could be anything. But,
what's interesting would be Imprisoned Red Dragon, because that could actually go to quite a few characters, actually.
Yeah, I feel like Imprisoned Red Dragon would be like a Kano fatality relic or something. Someone who's Black Dragon.
I wonder if it's the actual Red Dragon that was imprisoned. Dagon's dragon.
Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so cool.
So,
sorry.
I don't think it's a character. I don't think it's a character.
But having
the relation,
it's a relic. But what's being pictured in the relic? Is it literally like a jail cell with a guy in it, or is it
the dragon?
Yeah,
which Dagon kept imprisoned. Yeah.
So could go either way.
That would be really cool. Burning Soul, Scorpion.
I believe Burning Soul is Hellfire Scorpion.
Yeah.
But again, given that I can put my Dramon's Mask on Noob Saibot and my Wrath Hammer on Goro, I don't know. Or it could just be like, hey, this is a noteworthy name in the Mortal Kombat lore. I don't know.
Right.
But that's what we've got. But the variant list had some exciting stuff.
It's super exciting. Well,
I'm just thinking, am I misremembering? Did he imprison the dragon or did he kill the dragon? I have a feeling he imprisoned it and used it for those experiments. Did he not? If I remember correctly. In Deception.
I don't remember.
No, sorry, Armageddon. Sorry.
There is one thing that we didn't show, and this stream I assume has gone pretty long for you guys normally. I'm used to stream for many hours at a time.
It's cool. If it's something cool, bring it on.
Well, I was just going to say that the dailies have reset. If you guys want to see some gameplay, I have it hooked up. I can, one thing we haven't actually shown is the combat. We haven't actually shown a fight or anything like that.
That's actually a very good point, yeah.
Let's show one. Kami bug in the wild.
Let's go with one arena battle, maybe.
Yeah. Sure. This is the gong, by the way. So this just saves up. The farther you progress in the story, the more it'll generate. And then it will save for up to, how long does this go for? 15 hours, something like that.
Is it 12? I think it's 12 hours.
Maybe 12 hours.
And I think the maximum crystals is 15, correct?
I believe 15 is the maximum crystals. So here's a quick pro tip, because I didn't get to give all the little handy dandy tips, but now that these are reset, I can kind of speed run these. So you can only hold up to 2 of the gear chests. So as soon as I see a gear chest, I claim, because sometimes you get your first gear chest after like an hour or 2. But you're only going to be able to hold 2. So if I see a gear chest, I claim, so that I can always try to have the maximum amount of gear chests in there. I'm just going to restart the app real quick, so you're going to see my apps in my home screen. Oh, or my device is just going to lock up. How about that? Okay. But all right, so we're restarting the app here, just so I can show you guys the dailies being tracked. But I've got a bunch of little interesting little nuggets I can show you guys here. Cool. So I always start with claiming the gong, because you cannot claim the gong more than once every 5 minutes. And so I can run through the rest of the daily so quick that I end up sitting around waiting for the gong a second time. So I just gong right away and then come back for the second one, because there's a daily to do the gong twice. There's a little loophole with the story. So there's a daily quest, and I'll just show you guys the list here. So here are the daily quests. Login for 1 day has already been done. And then you'll see here, claim from the gong twice. We already did the first one. There is battle in story, battle in boss tower, level a fighter, battle in arena, enhance a relic, level a piece of gear, and spend the skull orbs. So do you know the loophole with story?
I mean, I just go to chapter 1 and fight Noob Saibot on quest 3. No. What do you do?
So you can just jump into any one. So I just jump into any that doesn't have a cinematic.
Oh, and you quit?
Yep.
Oh, you don't need to win. You just need to fight.
Nope. You don't even need to fight.
Oh
you
my
just need to enter.
Are you serious?
It said fight. All right, I'm done.
Well, because if you lose, then you don't get the credit for it.
I don't get
Right.
credit for it if I win either. Like,
No, it
it's-
just
you
says
just have to
battle.
fight.
It just
Oh,
says
yeah.
battle, yeah.
battle and story. All right, I did. I mean, I didn't actually, but
Oh my god, I've been watching that Noob Saibot Clarion cutscene over and over and over.
oh, pick anyone that you can just jump in and jump out.
Oh my god, I'm doing it right now while we talk.
Yeah, so there's that. Then I tend to do these in a batch, so I always just have like a project of the day. So I'm leveling up Katana one level at a time. There's that. The relic, you can just grab any relic and throw some XP at it. So as long as it's going to be enough to level it, I think these meditation beads will level off one of those. Sure. Yeah, to max. Whoop-de-doo. Meditation beads are a really awful relic. And then you've got the gear. Oh, so I do have a pro tip for the gear too. I have a really, really good pro tip for the gear. So,
All right.
You always get gear in the gong that looks like this, level 1, tier 1.
Yes.
And so what you can do is you only have to do this the first time, is take one of those to level 4, which is leveling it 3 times for the achievement. And then just off the gear from the gong every day, you can go to the day before and throw in the one that you took to level 4, and then 2 more that you'll have claimed from the gong, and that'll get the new one to level 4 for tomorrow.
Oh.
So
Okay.
Now I'm throwing in my 1-4 and my 2 1-1s from the gong, and now this is my new 1-4, and when I get 2 more from the gong tomorrow, I'll rinse and repeat, and that way you never actually have to use any gear that you care about. You can just keep recycling the super garbage gong gear and always get that daily done without feeling pressured to, because eventually it gets really pricey to level the gear in terms of like the amount of gear you have to throw into it.
It's funny, you'd think this would be obvious, but it just doesn't click.
Nope. Yeah, I some of these pro tips, I'm embarrassed how long I did them a less efficient way before I went, I should have been doing it this way, I think.
That's me right now.
Hey, there's going to be a lot of people who don't tune into this stream, and they're going to still be watching that cutscene. So, then battle and boss tower. So I am fortunate enough, I have a guide out on YouTube with Star and Sky about how to 3-star the boss towers. But so my boss tower, I do want to show you guys some gameplay, but we're just going to do an arena match because we're short on time. But so this will get the boss towers done nice and quick.
You're gonna have to link me that boss tower guide because I'm tired of doing tier 3.
Oh, you should definitely be doing a higher tier for sure. But they did so in the change to dodge and accuracy. They also made the boss towers way tougher.
Yeah,
way tougher.
I know.
So now tier 4 is about as high as most people are going to get, which has created this kind of artificial divide where those of us that had done it earlier can just spam the stage 6s. But the good news is you can get the same rewards from stage 4. Just your odds are much worse because you can also get all the tier 2 stuff. But so it created a little bit of a divide, them changing the difficulty.
That's a shame.
I think they weren't expecting us to beat it in the first place. Like I wrote in saying, hey, we're doing stage 6. Can you even get legendary gear? Because there's a filter for legendary gear, which would be orange. But we haven't seen any of it drop. So it's like, can we even get legendary gear here in stage 6? And I think they saw that and went, wait, you guys are beating stage 6 with the level 85? Hold up. And then I think they went like, make that harder. What the hell?
Never underestimate the fan base.
Yeah. That might have been my fault for calling their attention to it, but I don't know. So then, there's just the arena. The gong is already back around in the time we've been talking. So there's the second gong. I have to do 3 arena matches and then a summon. So we'll do an arena match and a summon, but let's show some actual combat here. On any other day, literally on any other day, I would have been able to show you guys like really high level arena gameplay.
But on the reset.
On the reset day, it is. I'll see if I can find someone really challenging here, but probably. Oh,
gonna get like
sure.
50. Oh, there we go.
That's a fight. Now I'm not going to take the time to like really evaluate how each character is built.
Well, actually, take a moment just to show us the thought process behind it.
Sure. So you can like I can see like okay, he's running Crown of Gerard. It's not a terrible relic, but it's not optimal. And you'll notice it's stuck at 15 because he hasn't duped it. Running a tenacity and mastery set with crit chance, that's not optimal. You definitely want to give this guy some attack.
Okay.
But I can see the level of the abilities and stuff. But so, I want that Kung Lao to run into my Goro and get smashed, which I think is what's going to happen. So, the safest thing I can do, I can run this match. I think I can switch up my team and get a guaranteed win, but the team that I'm using has pretty good odds of winning, and here's why. The character that's in the back row in the middle, most of the time on the enemy team will run up. So I'm talking about Razor Hat Kung Lao on the enemy team. Most of the time he will run at my Goro. And if that happens, I should win this.
Does your Scarlet not do the same thing?
My Scarlet most of the time will run under my Xiao and clash with his Xiao. They kind of like go around each other. But my Scarlet pretty much always goes under, except if they have like a actual melee character in the front row somewhere else. So like if Goro is in the front row on their team, my Scarlet might go up. But their Kung Lao just some of the time will just run down. So I'm going to start this fight, but if Kung Lao runs down, he's going to annihilate my Scarlet, and then I'm going to lose really, really hard. Okay. So that shouldn't happen, but it's a roll of the dice. So I'm willing to roll the dice to keep it interesting on the stream for everybody. But if Kung Lao goes down and just massacres my Scarlet, I'm in for a bad time. So go up. Hey, he went up. All right. So he still does have a bit of a power advantage over me, but I should be able to pull off a win here. My Goro is in a 2v1, but my Goro will certainly be able to tank. And no one has Kami Dogu, so that's good.
That is, yeah, I was thinking there's no half health. It's a shame the frames are so low on this.
Unfortunately, they're great on my end when I'm broadcasting, but I like to try to kill Goro. Oh, my Goro got one shot by his Aaron. That's really unlucky. Well, this is really dangerous now. So I need his Goro to die right here. Okay, that's something. But I don't think I'm going to win this because my Goro got annihilated by his Aaron. But we'll see. The fight is still raging, but I'm pretty sure we.
I found it interesting because also your threat level was 409k and his was 450k. But what I've noticed as well is that you can go up against somebody much higher or lower and win or lose.
Yeah. The threat is not a great indication. I'm salty that I'm gonna lose this, and that was just because his Deadeye Aaron got such a good crit on my Goro. My Goro has a really early ult, but yeah, that's a wrap. Curtains out. Oh, normally I would quit out if I know the result, but I'll let it play out so people can see.
Usually, what I do before I start a match is I look at the I don't know what's called, the little key at the top that talks about which characters do well against what type of characters.
Yeah,
and all I do is lay my board out based off of that. And
so
if
you stack the affinity, you'll absolutely win. This person, as you can see, they have like they're doing it smart where they have some mind, some spirit, some body. Yeah, but like because I did not have a layout where I could actually reach their Goro, if I do this, and actually the really safe bet is this. If I do this, I don't think I can lose this match unless it's like freak RNG. I should win, and that's because the reason I say that is Razor Hat will eviscerate his Undying Xiao, and the attack buff from Scarlet is gonna, like, you'll see how fast his tank should melt. There's that attack buff. Oh, actually, credit where credit's due. His Xiao should already be dead, but he's still kicking. But all right, so there you see, like, his Xiao just went down for the first time already. So now you just draw some attention to Goro. Hopefully my Scarlet can still do enough there. All right. Oh, wait. No, get up. Okay. This should kill or cripple Goro, and then flame on, and we're going to win. Yeah. So I can
all right.
That's the win. But yeah, you got to see a contentious match. Bonk him in the head with the hat.
There we go. One defeat and one victory. Perfect example of the game.
And that's how you beat someone with higher power than you.
Yeah, that's it. Just stack your affinity.
I see you got a nice free couple of wins in there as well with the 29k threat level and 66k.
Yep. Yeah.
Actually, so if you want, I'll do one more thing to show people. I'm gonna fight the guy who's 29k. It'll take 2 seconds, and then I'll do a summon, and then all the dailies will be done. And when I say like there's limited content in this game, the fact that like this was like 10 minutes, all the dailies will be done. But I'll be able to show you guys a screenshot of what the full daily rewards look like. A lot of people don't actually claim them 10 at a time. But so that I just ran through that because that's my third arena match. So we'll do a summon, and maybe we'll get something really epic on stream. I don't know. We have streamer luck? Probably not.
I feel like we should go for a full 10 pull.
If you want me to do a 10 pull, I will do it.
It's only if you want to. I don't want to mess up your progress route.
I'm way ahead of everyone. Like not literally every player, but I'm the 1% in this game. So I'm like, hey, I don't mind handicapping myself. I have enough of a head start.
I want to see all your stones into gold.
Yeah. There's people who are losing their arena tokens. So
right.
So do you want me to do it as a 10 pull?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let's see if your theory holds true. Show me something good.
Show me the money.
Oh, it's blue, so I'm not that excited. Maybe a throne or a Kirahashi or something would make me excited. There's some blue drops that would be nice here. Those I think are all characters. So yeah, there's nothing exciting about that.
I'd take the Aaron. I'd take the Aaron Black.
He's no good to me. All those relics are awful, man. Ugh.
Yeah, that is a bad pull.
Yanni's just sabotaging you so we can catch up.
Okay, by all means. My name is
comment.
Khasino. If I wasn't willing to roll the dice on this, I do my name. But so here, actually, this is when you hit claim all. That's all the dailies done, and this is your full daily resource income, not including the gong. And obviously, you can. Like I can play arena a couple more times, and I can do the gold coin boss tower. But just from the dailies, you can count on every day getting those in a chunk as long as you're doing your dailies every day. So, a little bit of useful.
Right. Awesome.
Now you've really seen everything. Deep dive. We went into the game files. We showed the gameplay. I don't think we could have done a deeper dive.
Tell everybody again where they can find you. Just plug your channel, plug your Twitter, YouTube, everything they got.
Sure. So I am most active on the Discord, which is discord.gg/MK Onslaught, which anyone is welcome to join, even if you're not currently able to play the game. If you want to hang out and learn the game until it becomes available on your device or anything like that. I do have a YouTube channel that I sometimes upload some Mortal Kombat Onslaught videos onto. Once the game is closer to release, you'll see me uploading very regularly. But until then, just like every month or so, I maybe put up a video. So youtube.com/Khasino. And then twitch.tv/Khasino, and it's all spelled the same, Khasino.
And we'll be leaving links to all that in the description anyway, of course.
All right, and before we let everybody go, don't forget to check out New Zealand Mint's coins that they had sent us over to check it out and show you guys. Just because, again, it's only 20,000 of each of them made. They're worth collecting. And
wait, 20,000? You said 2,000 earlier.
Oh, sorry, I'm right. You're right. 2,000, only 2,000.
Yeah, I was like, that's a huge difference.
Yeah, and it's 1 ounce of pure silver, so you can't have too much silver, right?
Next time, gold.
Melt them down, kill some vampires. But yeah, be sure to check those out. And Khasino, thank you again for joining us and showing us around Mortal Kombat Onslaught.
No problem.
I think there's a lot of valuable information. I'm going to level up my players, only the ones that I want to, and everything else I'm just saving up until the official release. So it's been great chatting with you today.
Yeah, I thank you for the most useful information of don't click OK when it resets the season. So thank you very much for that.
Don't click OK. Don't skip your cutscenes. Don't challenge people with Kamidogu.
Well, thank you, Khasino, and thank you to all of our listeners. We really hope you enjoyed today's discussion. As always, it tends to go on longer than we expect just because there's so much to talk about, and it's a lot of fun for us.
That's all me.
We expected it actually, but not this long. But totally good with it. Honestly, we got through so much, and I'm really happy we did such a deep dive. To everybody listening, we haven't actually announced our next episode of the Realm Kast. We will be announcing that. Do you want to? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. All right. Well, so this is a little special for anybody who's left around. Our next episode, I think, let's go ahead and we're going to release our episode with the original Sonya Blade, Liz Malecki. So
I've been waiting so long to be able to announce that one, actually. That's so cool.
I stole that from you. So if you're interested in the original Mortal Kombat, this is Liz's first interview in like almost 30 years. So we're super excited to be sharing this with you guys. She's going to tell you some insights about the making of Mortal Kombat and kind of where her life has gone after Mortal Kombat. It's a great interview. We can't wait to share it with you guys. So be sure to check that out on the next Realm Kast. In the meantime, don't forget about Mortal Kombat Online's other programs such as Fan Fight Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and Survival Saturdays, which is 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And Mortal Kombat Online also has a fight club. If you're not part of it, register. It is such a cool system. It's a whole new way to play Mortal Kombat 11, and like what it does. I can't. We made a whole episode of the Realm Kast about it. It's just worth checking out. So be sure to check out Mortal Kombat Online and the Fight Club.
I fully believe it'll revolutionize not just Mortal Kombat's style of like tournament play, but just fighting game play in general.
Yes.
I agree. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
So innovative, honestly. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, check out our episode with MKO. Honestly, it is so cool to see what they're doing. Their minds, man. They know what they're doing. But thank you, everybody, including you, Khasino, for joining us on our 6th Soul Stream episode. We really hope you enjoyed the latest episode as well from last 2 weeks ago with artist Iso Murga. He's generally known by his online alias as at Iso13. If you missed it, go check it out, because whether or not you know that you know him, you know his art. Trust me, if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, you've seen his art before, even if you don't realize it. So thank you all for your support, your engagement. We really can't wait for you to hear what we have next as well. As we mentioned, Liz Malecki, first interview in basically 30 years. It's a really cool one. So come join us for that.
Yep. And you can find Yanni and myself, Phantom, on the Mortal Kombat group on Facebook, as well as Yanni on the Mortal Kombat meme realm, which is also on Facebook and Instagram. So be sure to check that out.
We also have our official Discord channel, which I think we really should start linking in the description now that I think about it. Hosted on MKO's server through the link in the description, which we will be adding, where we discuss Mortal Kombat along with our listeners, of course.
And a special thanks to Uppercut Editions for their continued support. The Realm Kast is the official podcast of Mortal Kombat Online.
And you can catch up on all episodes of the Realm Kast on realmkast.com, where you can also find our calendar for all upcoming content. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Khasino.
Bye.
No problem. Thank you guys so much.